And Wheatley's got the first down. Putting inside the 45. Fighting Lions all the way down to the 42-yard line. Tyrone Wheatley, the battering ram, has a Raider first down. Just then inside the Lions 30. Play action bootleg. Gannon's got room to go. 25-20. And he steps out of bounds. The Raiders first down on the 15-yard line. Touchdown Raiders. Randy Jordan blocked it. It's a touchdown for the Raiders. Randy Jordan does it again.
All right, everybody, how you doing? This is Captain Jack, and I'd like to welcome everybody to tonight's broadcast of the Black Shield and Galleon Wheel webcast, where it is my distinct honor and pleasure, privilege, and I'm going to blow a lot of positives to the way of our guest tonight. And I think it would be good if I turned the volume up on him, so this way we actually have. I'm going to blow a lot of positives. My first screw up. There we go. The first screw up of the evening. I actually had YouTube coming in, so apologies, Jerry, for you actually double hearing me and everybody out there. Here's the thing. When I had the pleasure of meeting Jerry Robinson the last few times, there is nobody that's more gracious, personable, down to earth, talks to you like a long lost friend. You know, sometimes the athletes of today, and I'm not saying anybody in particular, but the athletes of today have a bad habit, shall we say, of maybe being a little bit upon airs, but not this one. So without further ado, Mr. Jerry Robinson. Jerry, thank you for being here with us here.
Hey, wait, but Captain Jack, thank you for that intro, man. Listen, it's so easy to be, as far as I'm concerned, polite and personable to Raider fans, man. The Raider Nation is just awesome, man. That whole group of the Black Hole and those that aren't in the Black Hole, but they're part of Raider Nation, man. They're just friendly people, and I like friendly people, man. It's a lot easier to smile than it is to frown. It takes less muscles.
Well, I tell you, and having said that, there's really nobody that really does it quite like you, because every time I've had a chance to hang out with you in the crowd, you are always there. You are always smiling, cutting up and hanging out with everybody. It's just wonderful. And again,
you know what?
Not my pleasure.
Hey, Jack, you know something? Hey, man, Captain Jack, check this out, man. I want people. I think it should be Captain Raider Gator Jack, because I know you got a little Gator background in you, don't you, Jack?
Yes, sir. I actually, you must be reading my notes, because I was going to spring the Raider Gator on you later on.
I had a chance to.
And I did it again. I redid the.
Hang out with you in the crowd.
I redid the. See, this one is on Facebook. See, I just turned Facebook back on. Hang on a second here. Apologies. Second audio snafu of the evening. Oh man, it'll come back on. There we go. Okay, because it came on because I want to make sure I can see my questions if there is anybody with questions, and I have to put on both Facebook as well as YouTube. And by the way, I want to remind everybody we are broadcasting live here on YouTube, as well as Facebook, as well as Twitter, as well as Twitch. So hopefully we got some people that are following. I'm going to move over to Twitter real quick to see if I can see what's going on. Just curious, seeing if we have any people that are watching right now. But it's always fun. And again, we're talking with Jerry Robinson. And Jerry, and again, you were talking Raider Gator. Oh man, I have been working hard today. Of course, at the very most inopportune time, I get the eye migraines. So I'm rubbing my eyes like a banshee, which is not good. So hopefully I'll be able to get through this. I'm not going to be on camera that much. And as I told you, and I want to give out this information to the crowd, is that Jerry called me very early today. It was like 6:13, I think you said, on the West Coast, so about 9:13 my time. I was about ready to duck out from my I had a medical appointment, And I think your exact words were you were so excited and stoked for this evening. I felt the very same way. I've been wanting to do this for a long time. I know that we've talked about it, and it was just we wanted to make sure that we had everything good to go here. So without further,
like you said,
go ahead, sir.
6 o'clock, 6:15, 6:30, whatever it was this morning. I got up. I got excited because you and I have been trying to do this for a while. And for it to happen now, it was like game day, Captain Jack. That's what it felt like, the excitement of the game day, the excitement of the crowd roaring, and you hear them starting low and they're getting louder and louder. And you step out there on that field and you see all that silver and black in the stands. Man, it's a piece of heaven, brother. So, yeah.
Yeah, I tell you, it is good to be there. Oh, I lost my graphics. My goodness. Oh, I know why.
That's okay.
Nah, I gotta move up all my graphics, because otherwise they won't see what I'm trying to portray here. So again, as I do third glitch of the evening, pardon me.
Well, let me say this. I'll tell you what. I knew you were a very talented young man, but Lord have mercy, you're handling 4 different platforms over here. You know, you never cease to amaze me.
Well, I am trying. And let me see. There we go with the transition there. Well, I almost have it. There it is. For some reason, there we are. I normally in a studio like what you're used to, you have a producer, and I'm sure you have guys that are in the technical field. I'm doing it all by myself as we speak. So when we were going back and forth with the graphics that you sent me, I had to take all those graphics and then I cut them up. I made some into JPEGs themselves. You know, I put things together. Now, unfortunately, you can't see this right now. But when you go back, and if you'll excuse the 3 snafus we've already had, the 2 audio ones and the 1 with the video so far, excuse me on that. But again, I am running all this by myself. Well,
Captain, I tell you what, I sent you enough pictures to keep you pretty busy. I was amazed that you were able to break it down, because I knew once I sent them, I said, they're not all edited and cropped and this and that. I said, but I know. Captain Raider Gator Jack will handle it.
Yeah, I will. And I said, hopefully so. And folks, if you like what happens, make sure you're giving those thumbs up on YouTube. I know that I'm going to get my proverbial thumbs down. I have a troll, and he always gives me a thumbs down. But you know what? I'm not going to go into that. But we all have trolls. But you know, get those thumbs up as well. Now, Jerry, I'm going to start. Obviously, I'm not going to start from your very, very beginning, but we're going to pick it up right from high school.
Okay.
Give us a bit, unless you want to go before high school. Any notable things that we should know about Mr. Jerry Robinson, his family history, where you grew up, all the other things like that, things that were pertinent to you prior to high school?
Yeah, you know, I grew up in Santa Rosa, California. That's where I'm at right now. And my mom, my dad, and my brother Jackie. And my father worked hard. My mom worked hard too. I went to Cardinal Lemon High School. And while I was at Cardinal High School, actually, my oldest brother, Jackie, got shot in the head my senior year in high school.
Ooh.
And he wound up dying my freshman year at UCLA. So I say that because I have a daughter named Jackie who's named after my brother. That's the whole thing behind that. I'm sure we might get into that later. That's the Gator. Jackie Robinson, my daughter, is the Gator. Her and my son-in-law, Alex Huggins, are the Gators. So I grew up here in Santa Rosa, went to a great school at Cardinal Lemon High School, had great coaching. My coach Lloyd, who taught me fundamentals and techniques of the game of tackling. You got to learn how to hit right. You got to learn how to tackle properly. And went from there, you know, on to UCLA. And
don't go there yet, because I want to tell everybody here, because I did read your bio, as a good interviewer should, was that you excelled in football, you excelled in track, you excelled in the high jump. Now, I cut out the particulars from the bio because I figured you were going to say all of those good things that you did amongst your football and your track and your high jump. I think you have the school record at, what was it like? I don't even know what the heck it was. Thought well, let's put it this way. It was bigger than a bread box.
There you go. That the high jump record. But let me tell you about this high jump. This is interesting, you guys. To me, I'd already won the 100, the 220, and the 440 relay. And the track meet was basically over, and my track coach came over to me and said, Jerry, we're in a position where we could win this track meet. He said, have you ever high jumped before? I said, no, I've never high jumped, but I've seen the Fosbury flop, and I've seen the stuff on TV. He said, can you give it a shot? He said, all you have to do is finish third. I said, okay. So the track meet was basically over. Everybody was around the high jump pit, this and that. And I go in there and I jump the first jump, and it's 6'5", and I wind up winning the track meet for our team. So that's the high jump story.
And so right, I mean, just natural talent. Obviously, you had hops for sure.
I had a little bit, yeah. I really love basketball, but I was a 6'3" center in high school, and I had several basketball scholarship offers. But my high school coach, I had a problem one day. I said, I can't make up my mind. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I don't know if I want to go to college to play basketball or play football. And Coach Lloyd said, Jer, he said, I've seen you dribble a basketball. Go play football. So I decided to go play football because I figured, actually, by going to UCLA, I said, you know what, if this football thing doesn't work out for me, I'll just go play basketball for John Wooden. And
there you go.
My freshman year, he retired, so I kind of stuck with that football thing.
Yeah. I forgot who replaced Wooden down there in UCLA.
It might have been Gene. I don't remember his last name.
I apologize. I know that's something that none of us were either prepared for, but you brought it up, so I figured. And if I remember right, a greasy-haired dude with black hair, if I remember, was the guy.
That's later on. No, that's yeah.
No, I'm not talking about Steve Lavin, man. I know about Steve Lavin and his greasy hair.
Okay, I thought you were talking about Coach Lavin.
No. I know about. No, that's a little bit before Lavin's time, but I thought that, like, when you said Gene, I just had an image of a guy with Lavin wasn't greasy, it was moosed, and there's a difference.
Well, he had that Pat Riley look, but his hair was darker.
Yeah. I apologize. You went off on track. And actually, this is a good segue because I was going to ask you about this. I said, because growing up in Florida, even as like in the adolescent, I wanted to be at Florida. That was the school that I wanted to go to. And obviously, I ended up getting my scholarship, not an athletic scholarship, because I was going to walk on one day, and then I saw Wilbur Marshall walking down Fraternity Row, and I said, this ROTC scholarship ain't a bad thing when you see Wilbur Marshall walking down.
Good business decision.
Yeah, it was. That was a business decision. But was there any school that, did you have any insight in maybe wanting to possibly go somewhere else? Or you said you had scholarships, offers. What were the schools that were after Mr. Jerry Robinson?
There was a bunch of them. But if I was going to leave the state of California, I was going to go to Notre Dame because there was a doctor here, Dr. Renfrey is his name, and my cousin John Hurd and him were good friends. And Dr. Renfrey used to talk to me about Touchdown Jesus and Notre Dame this and Notre Dame that. And so I had kind of, I was like, okay, if I leave California. But what happened was my senior year, December 19th, my brother got shot in the head. And at that point right there, I'm not leaving the state of California. That's when I decided to go to UCLA. So there were several offers, but family comes first, and my mom needed me. My brother, he was in a coma for like 14 to 16 months, and I wanted to be close in case my mom needed me, and I had a chance to get back up here to see my brother. So staying in California was important to me, and UCLA was the place. Actually, during that time, that hard time in my life, my brother being shot the day after my birthday, which is December 18th, I remember getting a call from USC, and they wanted me to come down because I think they were going to be playing for a national championship or something. I don't know, some big game. And I remember telling them, I said, you know what, I can't come right now because my brother is in the hospital right now fighting for his life. And the coach got highly upset with me, very upset with me, which kind of shocked me because he's a legendary coach. And I'm like, wait a minute, understand this. My brother is fighting for his life. And then he just went on to say that, you know what, go ahead and go to UCLA. He said you could be a Bruin for 4 years or a Trojan for life. Someday you'll understand that. Ooh. And I said to him, I tell you what, with the way you talk to me and the way you just cursed at me and the conversation we just had, I'd rather go to UCLA for 4 years and just beat you guys one time. And I said, as a matter of fact, the day that happens, I am going to walk across the field and remind you of the horrible things that you said to me. So my freshman year, we beat USC, and I walked right across the field to the head coach, and I remember I told you what I was going to do. So anyway, so much for that.
Well, and I'm gonna fill in the blanks because not that we are denigrating a historic coach, and I know who that coach is, and I'm going to say it, and you tell me if I'm wrong. That would be Mr. John McKay.
Yeah. It was Coach McKay, and I was in my athletic director's office at Carver High School, Coach Fitzgerald's office, my head coach, basketball coach, and I was floored. Matter of fact, I started off in tears because I could not believe this man was saying this to me during a time in my life where I didn't know what was going to happen. It shocked me. It really did. And, you know, he was upset about it, this and that. And all of a sudden I said, wait a minute. You know, you want to start cursing me. I said, I got a few choice words for you too. So we both went at it. And that's the way it ended. You know, actually it didn't really end that way. That particular part ended like that. What happened was, I'm gonna jump ahead here now. My senior year, after my senior year, I went to the Hula Bowl, and I decided to go to this thing called the Olympia Bowl. It was a new bowl that they were trying up in Washington. Well, I said, okay, you know what? They asked me to do it, this and that. You know, they thought that, you know, the All-American status and this and that might help publicize the new bowl. I get to Washington, I was Seattle, and we had our first meeting with the team, you know, but they did was they had a professional team come in and their coaching staff, and they were our coaches. I walk into the meeting, and guess which coaching staff and head coach was the team that I was playing for? It was John McKay, who was the head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I said, you remember me? He said, yeah. And he apologized. He really did. Later on, he apologized. You know, I guess he just got caught up in the moment, but you know what? Still, that was a very important moment in time in my life. But you know what? He did apologize for acting that way. So anyway.
Well, you know, I'm kind of glad that you said that, you know, the coach redeemed himself. I know that probably for those that don't know who John McKay is, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, yeah. You know, with the many national championships that he won at USC, and then he goes to be the coach of the Bucs, and for the first 26 games that he coached in the NFL, he lost every one of them. 0-14, and then 0-12 before the Bucs finally won their last two. And again, I'm sitting here in Tampa, so I can tell Bucs fans that because they have a very short memory of things like that. But one good thing, you know, it's like, so we'll transition. I actually got a picture of you up now. You don't see it, but this is Mr. Jerry Robinson in his splendor, number 84 for UCLA. And I wanted to ask, now you were, targeted, or you were recruited as a wide receiver. So I guess your entire freshman year you were a wide receiver?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was a wide receiver through the entire season until we beat USC to go to the Rose Bowl. And within the 2-week practice period that they allow you to have to get ready for the Rose Bowl, I got a call from Coach Vermeil. Coach Dave Vermeil came up to his office and wanted to talk to me about something. So Coach Vermeil and Coach Stiles, who was the defensive coordinator at UCLA at the time, Coach Vermeil said, "Sit down, Jerry." I said, "Okay." I'm like, I thought I did something. I didn't know why I'm in his office. I have no idea, right? So I'm this freshman and I'm in there, and he said, I'm not trying to hurt your feelings. He said, I've always been honest with you and I'm honest with everybody. He said, as a wide receiver, there's like a dime a dozen. There's quite a few wide receivers like you out there. He said, but I really believe if you move to inside linebacker, you can revolutionize the game. I'm looking at him. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, they haven't seen people that can run like you can. And the techniques and the fundamentals that I got from high school, I knew how to hit and knew how to tackle. And he said, you know what? I think you could play in the Rose Bowl with just 2 weeks practice. You could play. I said, okay, I'll do it. So that's when I made that move. That's when I made the move. So I did get to play linebacker in the Rose Bowl. I played 2 plays. That's all it was. But that was the beginning of the rest of the stuff, which is history now. And it's because Coach Vermeil and Coach Stiles, they saw something in me, and I trusted them and just went for it.
Now, I got to ask, because I guess you were playing, if I remember right, it was Ohio State, correct?
Yes. Number 1 in the nation, Ohio State.
And
2-time Heisman Trophy winner, Archie Griffin.
There you go. I got a story about Archie Griffin's backup, but I'll tell you after you. I'm going to tell you that after you tell me this. Who won the game?
We did.
Okay, well there you go. You're dropping the head. I mean, you're dropping the headline, man. Is that UCLA beats and I love saying it when you can actually do little digs at Ohio State, beat the Ohio State Buckeyes with 2-time Heisman Trophy winner Archie Griffin. By the way, Archie Griffin had a backup. His name was Bob Johnson. And Bob Johnson is known for something very, very special in the fact that Bob Johnson played in a World Series game. Okay?
Really?
Well, see, it's a trivia question. Because I tell people that my father played in a World Series game, and they say, no, he did not. I said, yes, he did. In fact, it was the Yankees versus the Dodgers in 1977. And they're like, so everybody's going through and they're trying to open up their, press books, seeing if my dad was on the Yankees or my dad was on the Dodgers, and they don't find his name. And they're saying, like, you're lying to me. I says, no. I guarantee you that my father played in the World Series. And what it's kind of like a sucker bet is the fact that my father played drums, Chet King played drums, and Bob Johnson, who actually blew out his knee at Ohio State, went in the Navy as a musician, as a vocalist, and he sang the national anthem while my father was on one drum set, Chet King was on the other drum set. So my father did play in the World Series that year. So again,
good.
Little bit of a highlight. I mean, again, that's a sucker bet. And I actually, when I was cleaning out my mom's house after her death, I did find the picture somewhere, and I got to find it again, of him, my dad playing drums, and Chet playing drums, and Bob Johnson, who would have been a hell of a running back had he not blown out his knee at Ohio State. But that's my claim to fame. And also my great uncle was a trainer for the Dodgers and the Padres. So that's another highlight. Anyway. Enough about me. That nobody wants to hear about me. You again. Well, I appreciate that, Jerry. Again, a fantastic career at UCLA. Okay, I'm going to read some of the highlights. Okay, All-American 3 times, a consensus pick in '76, unanimous in '77 and '78. A record amount of tackles of 468 for your career. And then the record for 28 in the game against Air Force. So I tell you what, Jerry, I got to ask.
Yeah, man.
Give me some of that information about the game against Air Force.
you know what? The air was light. It was interesting because it was up there in Colorado. And I've always felt that, you know, with the speed that I had, it compensated for the lack of size that I had. And I had to learn how to play linebacker. And I had a great coach named Jed Hughes who taught me the game from the ground up. And it was just one of those games where I was just going to the ball. But you know something? That game, you know, that 28 tackles, that game, that was, you know, that's a record. But I had 23 against USC. And that felt even better than the 28 that I had against. You could tell how, you know what? Hey, you can tell how I feel about USC, and you know how it all started. I'm not going back to rehash this, but it all started there with, you know, with that UCLA USC thing, and so there was 28 against Arizona. I was flying around all day long. I was flying around against USC when I had 23, and I believe we lost the game, and might have been on a field goal or something like that. I just remember. When the game was over, I had to go to the emergency room because I had dehydrated. You know, you're sitting back there and Charles White is, okay, where's Charles at? And then they had that massive offensive line that they had. So it was physical and there was a lot of running involved, but, you know, it was still fun. Although we lost, it's just, you want to play your best, especially against your crosstown rivals like USC.
Yeah. And again, it's like it's no other, you know. It's Gators versus Georgia, USC, UCLA. You know, rivalry games are the greatest to bring out exactly what I don't want to say. I can't even say what the physical acumen, the mental and the physical stuff that you are made of. So again,
well, it's awesome. And remember this now: you're being kind. You're being kind here. I know it's also fueled by a lot of. I'm not going to say anger, but you know.
Oh no, that's
there's some serious animosity. It really is some serious animosity between these rivals in high school, well, college especially, and in the pros. And so.
Oh, don't tell me about that once, because I'm going to bring that other story up later on, because I have that queued up for you, because you know what I'm going to talk about in a minute later on, because we spoke about that earlier. Okay, going back again, the legendary Jerry Robinson. And again, if you're joining us here, Black Shield and Galleon Wheel Webcast with kind of like the Ohio State, no, the College Football Hall of Famer from UCLA, not USC. Don't get it mixed up. And by the way, on the graphics that you will see later on, I made sure that the pictures are put up is on a background of like the baby blue, so it comes out very well, and it has UCLA on it, and it shows the Legends Award recipient Jerry Robinson, UCLA linebacker, class of '78. It shows your jersey number 84, and that is a nice baby blue color, and it shows you about ready to wreak havoc against some whoever the UW quarterback is has no clue what's about ready to happen on that play.
Hey, that UW quarterback is named Warren Moon.
You know, I was going to ask that. You know, I was going to ask that. It looked like him. I said, well, could it be Warren Moon? Because I was about the same time frame. So you knocked the snot out of Warren Moon. That's always good to know.
Well, I tried to. You know, he had his anyway.
Well, and again, going to I'm going to finish up here. I'm not fully done yet. Okay. You again 6'3".
I hope not.
No. Oh no.
We've been trying to do this for decades.
No.
Okay, right.
Jerry,
don't have me get on an airplane. Well, I ain't gonna get on an airplane. Don't have me get in my car and drive 3,000 miles.
Nah.
Well, that would be cool too, because I can sit inside that.
You can sit in the studio, and you did see it. It is a very nice studio.
Oh yeah.
Okay, and you are cordially invited when you make a trip to Florida, and there is a reason for you to make a trip to Florida, but we'll get into that later on. Again, we haven't touched a bunch of things. Now, again, 6'3", 208. Now, 208, really?
Yeah, man, 208. 208. You know what? Being 208 playing inside linebacker, I quickly learned that I needed to put as many pads as I could on my forearms and my elbows, and a brother needed to get a neck roll at that side right there. I gained a few pounds. I just was, I had that wide receiver type of thing. I had a fast metabolism, and I just didn't put on weight. And I've always been, in college and even in the NFL for 13 years, an undersized inside linebacker.
Well, I tell you, and that is a hellacious neck roll. I had one of those when I played. But I didn't look as good as you when I was playing. I was just kind of lunky and chunky. 6'3", 208, wore number 84, which UCLA retired. Name and number is displayed in the Ring of Honor at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, which is fantastic. And I believe now I have the graphic off. Let me turn it back on here because I'm going to ask this question as well. The trophy that's next to that jersey, is that like the UCLA Hall of Fame trophy?
Yeah, that picture right there is in the UCLA Athletic Hall of Fame, and I believe that trophy right there is probably the most valuable player trophy, or I think that's what that is in there. So that picture right there is in the UCLA Athletic Hall of Fame.
Okay. And the Hall of Famer that he is, UCLA Hall of Famers, because there's other prestigious things to come. The Downtown Athletic Club in New York named you Linebacker of the Year, now named the Dick Butkus Award. In 77 and 78, so 2 years running, you were the best linebacker in college football. I was going to say, now I know that you had some other outstanding linebackers that were there. Now, I want you to tell me any of the more favorite celebrated teammates that you played with, against, memorable games. I mean, you were talking about the Rose Bowl, your teammates, the guys you played against. You already mentioned Warren Moon. I'm going to shut up and let you talk.
Okay, well, I tell you what, Warren Moon, now that Downtown Athletic Club, the linebacker of the year, for the best linebacker in the nation, I mean, that was during the same time that the number one draft choice in the 1979 draft when I came out was a linebacker from Ohio State named Tom Cousino. Okay, and for me to get that award, Tom and I are friends. As a matter of fact, I just saw Tom a few months ago when I was in North Carolina at that Bronco Nagurski thing, which we can get into later. But Tom and I have been friends. I gave him my jersey, and I have his jersey, number 36 from Ohio State, and so that meant a lot to me because there were a lot of guys that were bigger and stronger, but obviously I think I had a little more speed than they did. But that right there, Cousino, my buddy from the Ohio State. Now, my teammates, I had Kenny Easley, who just went to the Hall of Fame last year. Mm-hmm. Kenny Easley, and a guy named Manu Tuiasosopo. His son played for the Raiders. Remember Marcus as the quarterback?
Oh, I remember Marcus.
Right. Well, I remember when Marcus was born.
Uh-huh.
So him, there was a guy named Theodis Brown, James Owens. We had several guys. Louis Sharp, who went to the Cardinals. It was just, my memory, it might take a while, but right now, those are some of the guys I played with on that team that wound up getting drafted, I know for sure. So, but then, when I think about college football, I think about, I had a chance to play against Ricky Bell from USC.
Number Ricky 42. Bell. Yeah, I remember 42.
Number 42. So I played against Ricky Bell and Charles White. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Then I played against Archie Griffin, just for a minute. And that's in college, So college was a lot of fun. All I know was my main concern was as the defensive signal caller. For me, someone who didn't know anything about playing linebacker, and to be the inside linebacker and the signal caller, I had to learn everybody's responsibility because it was my job to make sure they were in the right place. And I was dead serious about that because it was a big responsibility. And I remember this. My coach, Jed Hughes, was telling me when I moved the inside linebacker, he said, Jerry, do you want to, this is back in the 70s now, he said, do you want to call the signals? I said, I guess so. Sure, why not? He said, well, most of the time the inside linebacker is the one that's calling the defense and making the adjustments to make sure everybody's in the right place. I said, okay. He said, well, because you got to go back into the 70s now. They said, inside linebacker is one of those positions like quarterback, and there's not many black athletes that are in those positions because some people don't think you guys can handle it.
No,
and
man.
when he said that to me, I said, I'll do it. That's exactly what I wanted to do. So I took a lot of pride in being able to learn a position and being responsible for everybody. As I'm calling the signals, you got Manning over back in the day calling Omaha. Well, I had my own calls I had to make too, and I had to make sure that everybody was in the right position. And even if that meant sacrificing myself being out of position, because I did not want to make a mistake that could cost us a big play or even a loss.
Well, I tell you, man, that comment and apologies there, that ranks up there with the reporter that asked Doug Williams, how long have you been a black quarterback?
Exactly.
It's like,
but that happened.
Goodness.
That happened to me in 1976 when I played in 75 and started playing inside linebacker in 1976. And he told me that, and I was like, really? And it actually it really upset me. So I had something to prove. And it's interesting. After every game, you go in the next day and you watch films, and they got all on the board. You have your tackles, missed tackles, and blown assignments, or whatever it is. My main concern was I didn't care about how many tackles I had. I was more interested to see if I had very many missed tackles. But the number one thing was missed assignments, and that's what I took a lot of pride in. Not making very many of them because, hey, I'm responsible for. I got 11 dudes out there, and so anyway, I took a lot of pride in that, and it meant a lot to me. Now that I'm much older now, I'm an ARP card member, AARP, so I'll be 64 coming up pretty soon. It just, as I look back at my life, the football life of it, that right there was a major step for me because I did something that I had no idea what I was doing, and I had to learn how to, first of all, play the position. Plus, I had to learn about where everybody else was supposed to be because if somebody wasn't in the right position, I'd walk over and I'd grab them and I'd slide them over, whatever it is. And it's like this: if your teammates, you would think everybody knows, what the call is. You give out the defensive signal call, and all of a sudden everybody's supposed to know what it is. Well, not everybody does. Sometimes you might have a little misfire in your brain, or something. You might have been hitting the head of somebody, and they're going to come to me to ask me, what was the call and what do I do? And it was my job to make sure that I had an answer for them.
Well, I obviously you did something right because, again, not only were you the consensus and unanimous All-Americans for the 3 years, in 1978, the Pop Warner Award for the best West Coast player. So, again, they're not just giving that to a player who is physically gifted. Obviously, you have the mental smarts to do all of those line calls. Now, let me ask you, you said you were inside back. Now, were you guys running a 3-4?
There were two inside. You know what? To this day, I know there were two inside linebackers. One on the strong side was Mac, and the dude on the weak side was Mike. And I was the one on the side that the tight end wasn't on. Put it that way, because you're in that open space over there. At UCLA, you gotta take that back coming down that backfield if he does. So I played both. I played both strong side inside backer. I know I'm not answering your question, but played strong side backer and the weak side inside backer. And it's a difference. It's a difference when that inside linebacker, if you have that responsibility of that tight end over there on your side, you got to be a little more aware because there's another dude that can come down and just knock your head off. and then in a passing situation, you got to be able to take that tight end a lot of times, or whoever comes out of that backfield, sometimes straight down the field, and you got to be able to run. So that was an advantage of mine. The disadvantage, of course, was the size, but you know what? I really truly believe that it was, like I said, it's the techniques, the fundamentals, man. You know how to hit, pop, and get rid of people. And like the offensive lineman, it's so funny to me. I laugh at this because there were so many offensive linemen that were so upset because they just could not understand how could this converted wide receiver play inside linebacker and they can't destroy me. And they can't, they're getting it handed to them. And there were just so many times you could see the frustration on their face. And I'm like this, I'm not trying to do no WWE. This is not a wrestling thing for me. I'm going to hit and go where I need to go. I don't need to be in there. I'm not big enough or strong enough to sit there and hang in there and, you know, eventually get into a fight with somebody. No, I'm just going to hit and move.
Well, I tell you, everything that you did led you to the next level. I mean, you put those accolades together. You know, the linebacker of the year twice over Cousineau. You know, the consensus All-Americans. You know, the Pop Warner Award, and then you get a call from I guess you would say somebody that knew you rather well. And as I flashed to a nice picture of you as an Eagle, and I did say that correctly, as I'm from Philly as a kid. So you were an Eagle. And when you were drafted by the Eagles, 1979 first round, your old coach had gone on from UCLA. And for those folks that want to get like a quick synopsis of like the young Dick Vermeil, I do like the movie Invincible, because again that does show South Philly. I mean, to a T. That movie, and you know, I think that Greg Kinnear actually played Dick Vermeil rather well. So give me a little bit about being drafted by a coach that obviously he knew what he had with you, and he went out of his way. I'm sure that he was jumping up and down. And was it Leonard Toews? Was he the owner then?
Yes. Yes,
okay.
He was, Mr. Toast, yes.
Okay, so he's jumping up and down. See, I said I know a little bit more than just Raider stuff. So, well, it does help that I am from Philly. But, jumping up and down, Leonard Toews, he said, I want Jerry Robinson. And I'm sure that they had some, I don't want to say that they had some qualms, but it's like, were you surprised that you were picked, you know, in the first round, or were you just? I'm not saying that you were expecting it, but I mean, give me your thoughts on that. That's a high honor.
It's not to say that I wasn't expecting it. I had been told that I'd be the 10th person chosen in the first round. That was a northern thing. And so I was kind of anticipating going in the first round somewhere. I really thought, you know, I would be a New Orleans Saints because of all the, you know, traveling around, watching basketball games. They flew me out there and they showed me everything. It's like being recruited all over again. And so now I just want to remind people, in 1979, there was no ESPN. So you were drafted by, you found out you were officially drafted when you heard on the radio the commissioner call your name. So I thought I was going number 10, and when the 10th pick came up, I was excited, and they said the New Orleans Saints select Russell Erxleben, punter.
Oh, man!
So now wait, let me say this. I was shocked. And actually, I was really disappointed, but I was happy for Russell because, you know, we were friends on these All-American trips. I was happy for him. Okay. But I was really disappointed because I felt someone had, you know, told me what he did. He told me one thing and did something else. So now, still in the first round, some other teams are picking here, picking there, and then I actually got a phone call from the Rams, from the Los Angeles Rams. I was sitting right there in my attorney, Marvin Demoff. Emily Steinberg. But anyway, I'm in Marvin's office, and he said, got the Rams on the phone, and I'm talking to them. I'm like, oh, God, this is Jerry from here. Oh, wow. UCLA right here, this and that. Okay, we're going to take you. And the radio came on. The Los Angeles Rams select George Andrews, linebacker, out of Nebraska. I'm like, oh, my God. I could have stayed here in L.A. But once again, George and I are good. We're good friends. We're still good friends to this day. I remember him, you know, talking to him just like, Jerry, I could not believe that they chose. Anyway, I was happy for him. Now all of a sudden, I'm in a panic I had a chance to go to New Orleans, get some gumbo, some spicy Cajun food, and all that Mardi Gras stuff. And then that didn't work out. And then to be able to be still in California at home with the Rams, that didn't work out either. And I'm surveying the board, and it's like it wasn't nothing but cold weather, cold weather, cold weather. I'm like, oh my God. So to make a long story short, Coach Emil called me. He said, Jerry, he said, I can't believe you're still on the board. He said, I told Mr. Toast, he is the best athlete on the board right now. And so turn the radio back on, and the Philadelphia Eagles select Jerry Robinson, and I was just thrilled. I was thrilled to death. When I think about it, him, Coach Vermeil, and Coach Styles, they were the ones that it's from wide receiver to linebacker. That's where it all started. That move right there. They saw something there, and Coach Vermeil saw something and knew quite a bit about me, and he chose me in the first round. And I tell you what, I will be always grateful to the Philadelphia Eagles for making my dream come true.
Well, I mean, you got to go to a like I said, you were talking about you didn't get gumbo, but you did go to Philly Cheesesteak House. And very important question: Geno's or Pat's?
I knew you were going to say that, man. I'm doing them both.
Oh, okay.
I love them both. I love the whole thing about cheesesteaks from Philly is just it's different. There's no place. I moved out. I came back home when I came to the Raiders in Los Angeles, and I live in Santa Rosa, and I'm in California, and people were trying to put Philly cheesesteaks on their menus, and I'm like, they just didn't know. I knew what they really taste like.
Exactly.
And Pat and Geno's, man, they're both. That's the real deal. And I did miss that. That was one of the first things I missed actually when I got traded back to LA. But I tell you what, they're both delicious.
Now, and the key is, and again, actually, because the Phillies do their spring training down here, what they do is, in order to make the best Philly cheesesteaks, it's all in the rolls. It's the Amoroso rolls, man. If you don't have that, you don't have a real Philly cheesesteak, because you can throw the meat, and I don't do onions, but the meat, the peppers, the mushrooms, the cheese, and all the other stuff. You don't have the rolls. You don't have a really good Philly cheesesteak. That's for sure.
If you don't have the rolls, you don't have a Philly cheesesteak at all.
You just got a steak sandwich.
You just got a name.
Yeah, that's it. Well, it's wonderful. You go to the Eagles first round, and again, deservedly. I like that story though. Russell Erxleben, man. Now you would have been playing with Ricky Jackson, I think, about that time, wouldn't you have? Or is that a little bit later?
Ricky came a little bit later, but we would have been on the same team. We would have been there together, yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, because I know that's about the right era, but wow, Russell Erxleben. I mean, nothing against Russell, but come on. They could have Jerry Robinson.
Let me ask you a question. Do you know, where did Hugh Green get drafted to?
When did what?
Remember?
Hugh Green?
Remember Hugh Green?
Yeah, he got out of Pitt. Hugh Green got drafted by the Bucks, right?
I'm not sure. I didn't know. Because I don't know. Him and Ricky Jackson are both great.
Yeah, I think Hugh Green, and somebody will look that up for me, because I got a really good audience here. And if I ask for a question, somebody will look it up for me, because I don't want to screw up my thing here. Wow, John Kingdon is online here.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah, I saw that. John Kingdon, thanks for coming in, brother. A great interviewer that I have a chance to interview in the past. So and obviously a great person to have in here. So John Kingdon's in here. Shoot, I lost track of what the heck I was going to ask. Let me get back in here. Apologies here. You go to the Eagles. Oh, I'm sorry. Here it is. Rookie of the year defensive rookie of the year. Your first year out.
You want to hear? Let me tell you a story about that.
Yeah,
telling story.
Let's hear
that
it.
Right there cracked me up, because I only played, I think it was 6 games, because what happened, Bill Berge was our starting linebacker. He gets hurt. Terry Tatalo on our team from UCLA, he took over his spot, and like halfway during the season, Coach Vermeil gave me. Hey, I got another phone call from Coach Vermeil. We're getting ready to play those Dallas Cowboys on a Monday night game.
Uh-huh.
And he said, Jerry, he said, I want you to start at inside linebacker, Monday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm like, okay, all right. So I went in there, played the Monday night game. We beat the Cowboys, which we hadn't beaten, the Eagles hadn't beaten the Cowboys very many times at all. And I'll never forget Howard Cosell, that voice of his and his vocabulary. Howard Cosell started calling me young Jerry Robinson. I was all over the field, man. I was flying. I didn't like the Cowboys. America's team. I said, I didn't get a vote. So anyway, I had issues with them. But anyway, I only wound up playing like 6 games my rookie year. And I wound up getting NFC Defensive Rookie of the Year, and I think I played like 6 games. So that cracks me up too. That's a nice looking trophy. It's like an Oscar, man. It's a beautiful trophy. Anyway, I'm proud of that because I did it in 6 games.
Well, that's awesome, and that is a great story. 6 games out of, now they were playing 14 back then, but still, you played half a season, and you got the Defensive Rookie of the Year. So, and I was
it's funny. I tell you another story. That particular Monday night game here. I remember went to the courthouse, and me and my girlfriend at the time, we went to the courthouse, to get our marriage license and fill all that stuff out, take care of that. And I remember going there to pick up the license, and the guard or somebody that was there, security guard, he looks over at me. He said, "You Jerry Robinson?" I'm like, "Yeah, man. How you doing?" He said, "My name is so and so." He said, "What are you doing here?" I told him I was doing. We picked up and getting ready to pick up my marriage license and all that kind of stuff. He said, "You know what?" He said, "I got a good friend of mine that's a judge." He said, "You want to get married right now?" I looked at her. She looked at me. I said, "Okay, let's go ahead." So we wound up getting married during that week of preparation for that Monday Night Football game. So I got married and I had a hell of a game on Monday Night Football.
Well,
the Cowboys.
so there you go. You topped it off. That was a really good week then.
It was a great week for me. But wait a minute, did you say you had John Kingdom on the line?
Well, yeah, John Kingdom is here in the chat, and he's saying some really good things about you. Since you can't read his comments presently.
I went to UCLA, not USC. I can read.
I see you caught the slip of the tongue. Since you can't read his comments presently, how's that? Okay, I didn't say you went to Alabama. Okay, I apologize. Okay.
Come on.
By the way, be nice now. I will say that I was correct. Hugh Green did go to Tampa Bay, so I was correct on that. I didn't know he was out of Pitt.
That's right.
But John was saying JR, I think that would be you, one of my favorites. And then he's talking about some other portions. And I told John before he needs to put out another book, and that's definitely true. And then for you, he says, loved playing, great leader, and a true gentleman. So that's from John Kingdom, and that's awesome.
Oh, that's cool. Well, I tell you what, John sent me his book, Behind the Raiders' Shield, Untold Stories from Longtime Davis Confidants.
And I got it right here.
It's a page turner.
I'm showing it. I'm showing it as we speak. In fact, I got the one that's autographed by him. So again,
I got one too, autographed too. So ha ha ha.
Well, There you go. I got another one. I got to have Bruce Kebrick sign it too. But so again, here's a plug from both Jerry Robinson and myself. If you haven't seen haven't read Behind the Raiders' Shield, what the heck are you waiting for? Go and get yourself a copy of it. And John's been on before, so make sure you go and get that book. There you go.
Yes, it's very informative. Yes, it is. The real deal. Okay.
Okay. Now, let me. I got to change views again. Hang on here, because I have you on.
Can I talk while you're changing views?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. I don't want to interrupt the flow of the show. You know what I'm saying?
No.
You know what? It's just that book, I'm serious, you guys. That book right there, you want to find out who Al Davis is and what he's about? I tell you what, when you turn to that page, and at the bottom of that second page actually, and it says "rather be feared." Do you see that?
I'm doing it right. I actually got it back as you were talking about it. Yeah, rather be feared. It's actually at the very, and I'm showing it for all the people on the screen.
Let me tell you what happened. Let me tell you, when I retired, I moved to Las Vegas. Funny, the Raiders in Las Vegas now, but anyway, I moved to Las Vegas about a year after living there. Al had brought back some of the alumni on a trip. It might have been Barcelona or somewhere. He likes to bring his alumni back, so these young kids can see what it's like, the camaraderie that we have. That Al was always big. Mark's big on that too. But anyway, so I'm talking to Al, and he asked me about Las Vegas. I said, you know what, Al? I love Vegas here. I said, everywhere I go, people want to know. They ask me, what's Al Davis like? What's he really like? And he said, what I want to know is, if he answers the question where the question said, well, what I want to know is, do they fear me? I'm like, so when I saw in this book, rather be feared, I said, wow, isn't that interesting? Yes, my man.
Well, I tell you, Jerry, my troll has struck. I got a thumbs down. That's not on you. That's because this inconsiderate person does not like me. Because there's no way you can not like this interview with you. So when you see this,
but you check it out though, Captain Jack. You'd rather have a thumbs down than the middle finger.
Well, that's his way of giving me the middle finger, but I don't care, because you know what? He had to view the show just to put a thumbs down. So that's an extra view for me.
True.
There you go.
Buddy. All right.
Now, and John chimes in. Al would always say, "I'd rather be feared than respected." So there you go. John even reiterated that. And don't give us your best Al yet, because we're going to go through your Eagles career first, and I want to make sure that everything is squared away. Now you were talking. Now Bill Berge was a god in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
Old number
He
66. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I should say he still is. Him and Bernie Perrant, man, they never have to worry about him. Bobby Clark, Bernie Perrant, Bill Berge go anywhere in Philly, and I mean, drinks are bought, meals are bought. Women are thrown at them. I'm sorry, it's true, but you got people like that. Now, the Eagles you were now, was it Bigfoot Harrison? Did I get that name right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Bigfoot Harrison.
Yes, number 78. Yeah, Berge at 66. Jerry Sizemore, who played on the offensive side but was a real terror for the Eagles as well. Give me some of the good niceties or the good stories about those Eagles from South Philly.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this right now. On the West Coast, you got the Black Hole. You got Raider Nation. Actually, there are Raider Nations all over the world, but let's just break it down in our country. The Raiders Nation holds it down. On the East Coast, Fly Eagles Fly in Chili, Philly, those fans are just as passionate about their team and their sports, but their football team, as the Raider Nation is about their team. Those are only two teams I played for. I'm sure they got fans in other teams or whatever, but my experience is that, I played back when you played at Veterans Stadium.
I was going to ask about that. Talk about the vet. I know about the vet.
I know you do. And I tell you this, at Veterans Stadium, Broad Street in Patterson, I believe, that stadium right there had a jail cell in it.
Mm-hmm.
At the stadium. So I'll let your imaginations run, everybody. But if you have to have a jail cell in your football stadium, there's a pretty good chance you got some pretty fanatical fans. And Philadelphia Eagle fans are that way. I love them. I always will. They were just great, made me feel good. They were it's great to have a crowd like that, knowledgeable, and also, because I've been retired since '92, but I left to go to the Raiders. I was traded in '85. I have seen a lot of Eagle games here on the West Coast, against the Raiders or 49ers or somewhere else. The Eagle fans travel like crazy, just like you see the Raider Nation in Mexico or in London or wherever, no matter where it is, they travel the same way that we do. And it's amazing. I love it. So Philadelphia, first of all, great sports city. I had a bunch of great teammates. Congratulations to Harold Carmichael. This year will be inducted in Pro Football Hall of Fame. And Jaws. I mean, I don't know, Wilbur Montgomery. You got Bill Berge, Reggie Wilkes, John Bunny,
Harold Jackson.
You just had, those were, they were just awesome football players, but awesome people too. Harold Carmichael he actually is my daughter's godfather.
Oh.
And I'm gonna tell you right now.
Okay.
Yes, I tell you what, you will not find. I've been around for quite a few years, over 6 decades, as a matter of fact, and I don't think you'll ever find a nicer man, a nicer gentleman, kind, true-hearted person than Harold Carmichael. He's phenomenal. So I'm happy. I'm glad that Harold, finally gets his opportunity to wear that gold jacket because he deserves it. So now I played with a lot of great people. I really did. I enjoyed it. We were the hardest working team in professional football, as you probably know. But for those that don't know, we worked probably harder than anybody. As a matter of fact, I know we did because I had Coach Emil when I was at UCLA, and we worked harder than anybody in NC2A.
Uh-huh.
So I come to the Eagles, and it was the same way. So as a matter of fact, when I got traded to the Raiders in 1985, I'm talking to Rod Martin, number 53, 3 interceptions in our Super Bowl 15. I remember Rod and talking to Cliff Branch and talking to Lester and them guys. They were like, man, everybody was so worried about the fact that if the Philadelphia Eagles weren't, we'd have to work as hard as you guys did. I was like, okay, man. So the word was out there. We were some hard-working people, but that's just the way it was with Coach Emil. We bought into it. It became a family, man. And, we worked hard for each other, and look where it got us. I mean, before Coach Emil got to Philadelphia, the Eagles, I think they had one of the worst records.
Yeah. Well, when you have somebody like Mike Barilla and Pete Liskey as your quarterback, I mean, that tells you all you really needed to know. I mean, they didn't have a winning mystique since the Dutchman, Norm Van Brocklin. They sucked year after. I mean, and they sucked the Phillies sucked, the Eagles sucked, the Sixers were the worst team in basketball ever. And I lived in the city at that time there, so it's like the only team that was good was the Flyers. And oh, by the way, I want to let you know, because you can't see, and during your Philadelphia years, because I put it on, I don't have an Eagles hat. I don't, but I am wearing an old school Phillies hat for you as you continue to talk about your Philadelphia years. I wanted to at least do some sort of transition there for you, so I'm right there with you. Okay, I got my old school Phillies hat on.
I appreciate that. I do. Also, I mean, help me out here because your memory's better than mine. But once Coach Emil got there, I mean, he turned that program around. I mean, they had the Miracle in the Meadowlands.
Yep.
Right? That was the jump start. And then all of a sudden, I mean, we're in another playoff game. We're in a Super Bowl. We're winning divisions, and things he turned that program around. And I tell you what, man, we all bought into, working hard. Hey, man, my dad and most people's dads worked harder than we've ever worked before. And, there's something about putting in that hard work. You definitely get something out of it. And he took us to the top. We just weren't able to pull off that Super Bowl. But at least we had we did not win Super Bowl 15, but we were the first Philadelphia Eagles team in a Super Bowl.
There you go.
And I'm glad they won one a couple of years ago, because the Philadelphia fans, they love it. They've been waiting a long, long, long time.
Yeah, they had lost 2 prior. It was the Eagles lost to the Raiders, they lost to the Patriots, and then they beat the Patriots. So that was good
Yeah,
comeuppance for that.
sweet.
Anybody beating the Patriots is good for football. But I mean, it's not
I
going to
feel
be
the
the
same way.
same anymore. But we'll talk about that at another time. I don't really want to give credence
Okay.
to some
All
quarterback
right.
whose name shall remain nameless. Anyway, I was going to actually, you gave me the transition that I needed. Other than, and again, you're in the Super Bowl, and
Mm-hmm.
Rod has the game of his life, and I think that it was because I think it was Ken was telling me not only did Rod have the 3 picks, he had I think he had a fumble recovery or 2, X amount of tackles, and didn't get picked as the MVP. And I mean, he should have been. He should have been. And that's not taking nothing away from Jim Plunkett, but that's never been done,
Hey.
nor will it ever be done again.
Well, when I came to the Raiders, and I got here in '85, and I just saw Plunkett last year as a Raider alumni in Napa. From '85 to last time I saw him, every time I see Jim Plunkett, every time I see him, I said, Rod should have been the MVP. He's on the cover of Sports Illustrated. Right, should have been Rod Martin. He said, yeah, maybe he should have been. He said, but my wife, Jerry, wants to thank you and all the Philadelphia Eagles for that Mercedes Benz that I got for winning MVP. He does every time.
Now, and again, that was a tough loss for the Eagles. Now, were you there? Were you still in Philly when Dick Vermeil gave his burnout speech?
Yeah.
Okay, so I know you were there. You played there. Is I think it's 6 for the Eagles and 7 for the Raiders. Do I think I have that right?
Yep, that's it. That's it. Correct, Captain.
Okay. See, I got my stats. I want to make sure that I ingested them correctly. So you played 6 for the
I was
Eagles.
there that day.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously, knowing Coach Vermeil from UCLA and then from the Eagles, and you guys were the hardest team. I mean, I can understand the burnout, but I'm surprised that more players didn't get burned out being under that rule. That's a hellacious way to live when you're with Coach Vermeil.
Yes, it is. But remember this: as hard as we worked on that film, he worked harder than we did. I mean, when you have a pull-out couch in your office and you don't go home very much, you're putting in a lot of time. And you know what? When Coach Vermeil, that day when he was talking about it, he said, I'm just burnt out. And knowing what I know, what he went through and the type of person he is, that's what it was. He was burnt out, man. He just couldn't go. And after he shared with us that he was just burnt out and this was going to be it, I think we had a game against the Washington Redskins that 2 days later or that week, whatever it was. I had never seen him so relaxed in my whole life, man. I was so happy for Coach Vermeil because he puts everything and then some into everything that he does. I mean, remember, Coach Vermeil was actually the first special teams coach, actually person named as that special teams coach in the National Football League. Way back years and years ago with George Allen and them. So he's had to work extremely hard his entire life because he knows what it's about. I mean, his family, the Vermeil family, they work hard. And check this out. Coach Vermeil, every Labor Day, he still comes to Napa up here by Santa Rosa. And I'll have lunch with him. And, it's kind of like an early lunch because, he said he gets up at 6 o'clock in the morning at the crack of dawn. He's on that tractor in his vineyard. He's still working hard. That's all that man knows. So I understand the hard thing, about the working hard part of it. But you know what? He did surprise, when he his burnout stage. It was shocking to us, but you know what? You could see the relief on his face, and I'm glad he was able to take a break for a while.
Yeah, I tell you, a great guy, and again, just nothing but love for Coach Vermeil, and and obviously, just he gets the love from deserving people because of the way that he is and way he has been.
Yeah.
So,
can I tell you one more story? When I was at UCLA, I remember we all had our meeting, and that first team meeting, and Coach Ramil said, you know what, you guys, I want you to know something. He said, my door down that hallway is always open. You can always come in and talk to me about anything you need to talk about. That was 1975. Here it is, 2020. His door is still open. When I talked to Coach Ramil, he always concerned about how are you doing and how is your family. He's been that way. His door is always open. And that's why, you know, there's so many people that love the man, because he loves a lot of people.
Yeah, and Jerry, I'm only going to ask. This is my transitionary question. We're gonna leave Philly after this, but before we do,
Sure.
I want to know why. Is it just because of the Super Bowl? But every time Ron Jaworski talks about the Raiders, it's always in a negative tone. I mean, it maybe it's just us, because we're used to all of the players that hate the Raiders have that ilk, that tone about them. And we always say it's because Jaws got embarrassed in the Super Bowl. But I mean, is there something to that, or are we just misguided?
Well, there were several of us that were embarrassed in that Super Bowl. That Super Bowl right there is, I want people to understand, I appreciate having that opportunity to play in a Super Bowl. So many people, athletes, some are Hall of Famers, that never even played in a Super Bowl. It was great to be able to play in a Super Bowl. But if you don't win, it's a lifetime of a nightmare, man. It's a bad dream for me. That is, that's it. It's just if you don't win, because, my situation, I get traded to the Raiders in '85 after they beat the Washington Redskins in the Super Bowl. All I have heard from 1985 up to probably a couple months ago, because I'm trying to say I hear it all the time because of my Raider teammates, is how much fun they had with that confetti falling down on their afros and on their eyebrows and on their face and all this and that. We didn't get to experience that. And that right there, plus you didn't get to hoist the Lombardi, and plus you didn't have that ring that says you're the Super Bowl champion, you're the world champ. So I have nothing bad to say about the Raiders. I mean, but I'm not a quarterback. I didn't get hit. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how many times they might have hit Ron or whatever it is, but you know what? It's one of those games that you just wish that you could do over, but you can't do over. And that's it, because, that opportunity doesn't come around very often. Well, we only went one time. We thought we were going to be able to go back again, but the opportunity that we had, we didn't cash in on it. So trust me, everybody that played that day, and every Raiders, Eagles fan that was there that day, or even not even there, or just the Eagles fan in general, they'll never forget that, man. It was a bad day. It really was. But I enjoyed the experience. But like I said, it's a bad dream for me. It's just. I put it this way. You know how when the Super Bowl rolls around every year, what was the last Super Bowl? What number was it? Super Bowl 50 something?
52, I believe. Yes.
Okay, there's 52.
Uh-huh.
Well, you know how they start with Super Bowl 1, 2, 3, and they just roll all the way down, all the way up. When they get to Super Bowl 13 or 14, excuse me, I will turn off the TV. I will leave the room. I won't even watch that. I've never seen the game. That's the effect it's had on me. I don't want to see their highlights. Because, also, since I played for the Raiders for 7 years, they're constantly reminding me of it anyway.
Right.
So I love it. It's all in fun, man. It really is. But, that's how I feel about it.
To make you feel better, Jerry, the last picture that I have up, and I forgot I had a couple different ones for the Eagles, I have, and this is a wonderful pic, it's showing you looking like you're stepping on the head of an offensive lineman for the Dallas Cowboys while Billy Joe Dupree looks on. And, so we're going to make sure that you leave on a high note, kind of like George Costanza. You get the joke and you leave the room. Yeah. Okay. We're going off on a high note. This is as we transition from Jerry Robinson at the end of his Eagles career, stomping on the head of a Dallas Cowboy. By the way, what was your favorite Dallas? Was it that Monday night game? Was your favorite Dallas Cowboy game?
It really was, because I remember that my rookie year, and I remember Tony, I called it a fumble when I hit Tony Dorsett, and I remember picking up the fumble and running it in, but the referee called it back, but it didn't matter. The fumble did count. I guess I must have touched the ground or something. But being able to play against America's team on a Monday night football game with only 4 or 5 days of practice at inside linebacker, because when I came to the Eagles, I was playing outside linebacker. So the first time I actually played in a football game in the National Football League, once again, he moved me from outside to inside. And 4 or 5 days later, I'm playing Monday night against the Dallas Cowboys, and we won. So that's that right there. But as an Eagle, I'll tell you what, that was one thing. But boy, that NFC conference championship game against the Dallas Cowboys in Veterans Stadium, that right there is my favorite Philadelphia Eagle memory. When we beat them, I think we played them for the third time that year, and we beat them to go to the Super Bowl. That right there, the whole city was just, it was just crazy. And, the guys that were there when Coach Mill first got there, they bought into his program. For me to see the joy on the guys that had to go through a lot of hard, they'd been working hard for years before I ever got there, to see the joy on these older guys' face is priceless.
Well, like I said, we did a great transition. By the way, Vermeil must have done something right. Who was inspiring with having like the fishnet uniforms? Because that would obviously cool you down a little bit more than the regular full jersey. So that whoever thought of that had the right idea.
Wait. No, we wore those fishnets in Veterans Stadium in December too.
Okay, true. Oh, that's true. I get.
Remember, well, you know what? I have one of my Eagles jerseys here. Someone gave it to me, and it is in a frame here. And I'm like, wait a minute, we're wearing green. Back in the day, we didn't have all these different uniforms.
Right.
We didn't have all these different. You might have had 2 or 3 pairs of shoes, or whatever, maybe 4 or 5. All depends on who you were. If you were a wide receiver, if you were Jaws or Wilbert or Harold, and that kind of stuff, or Bergie or whatever. But we didn't have a whole lot to choose from, and I cannot remember. And I tell you what, if you find a picture of us wearing a green jersey or any jersey does not match, please send it to me, please, because all I can remember was, it's chilly Philly, baby. It was
okay.
Cold.
So there you go, folks. Jerry's put it out to you, and he'll make it worth your while with something. If you can find a picture, of the Eagles not wearing those fishnets, like the fishnets through the midsection or basically below the shoulder pads, Jerry will be accommodating. I'm not going to say whatever, but he'll be accommodating because that is a find.
I'll hook up something. I'll tell you what, that would solve this thing that's going on inside of my head, because I'm like, wait a minute, man, I don't think we've ever had anything but those. So anyway, like you said, I'm putting it out there. Somebody help me, please.
Well, here we go. We're leaving Philly. And now up on the screen, I got the Raiders shield. We are going to the then Los Angeles Raiders. Might I ask you, what prompted the move to the Raiders?
Well, you had mentioned Dennis Big Foot Harrison. Well, Dennis, what happened was when Leonard Toast sold the team to Norman Brayman, the car dealer, the magnate, or whatever it is, from Miami or down there in Florida, there were a lot of, I think there's like 10 guys that were upset because there were a couple guys that might have got a contract or two that just was just way out there, and they didn't want to renegotiate anybody else's contract. But anyway, I'm not going to get too deep in it, but there was some contract stuff. So about 8 to 10 of us said, we're not going in until we're not even going to training camp. We're not this and that. Well, 8 of them went in. Out of the 8 or 10, there was only 2 left that held out, Dennis and myself. And we were the 2 that got traded. Dennis, I believe, went to the Rams, and I wound up going to the Raiders. So what led that move, that trade thing was not a misunderstanding, but it was I guess myself and Mr. Brayman just did not agree on what was going on. So he sent me to the West Coast, home. He sent me home.
Well, then it worked out, and I was going to say Leonard Toews was a great owner, And I didn't really, and again, not that I'm as knowledgeable. I've never been in a football locker room with a bunch of teammates in the NFL, but I remember not hearing a lot of positive things about the guy who took over.
Oh, it was bad. It was really bad. I mean, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you how bad this is. We're here. We're going to have some fun. I'm going to let y'all know something.
There you go.
Me and Norman Brayman, we met, I believe it was at Four Seasons or something like that in Philadelphia. And what happened was when I pulled into the parking lot, there were so many cars in there. I'm trying to valet park my car. I go in, I sit down, there's Norman Brayman. He looks at his watch. He says, "You're 4 minutes late." And from that point on, it got worse. So he's trying to make a deal, work out a deal, with a new contract here and there. And he said, "You know what, Jerry?" He said, "Tell you what I'm going to do." He said, "I own several car dealerships." I said, "Yes, you do." And this was back in the day when there was a car called the Yugo.
Yugo. I know the Yugo. Yeah.
Yugo.
Yeah.
So what Norman Brayman did, he was offering me a Yugo dealership. Jerry, I tell you what, I'll get you this deal right here. I'll get you a Yugo dealership. I looked at him. I said, "No, you go. I'm gone." And that was it. I left after that. So me and Norman didn't see eye to eye. When he tried to offer me that Yugo car dealership, I said, "This man is really, he must have been out there surfing on the South Beach, man. He must have fell out on one of them rocks because his head wasn't totally there." But anyway, we just didn't get along. But anyway, you know what? That's okay, because I'll always have love for Philadelphia, man. My two favorite teams, the Raiders and the Eagles. That's it right there. And, I have a lot of friends that are still there and some great memories. But I have always been a Raiders fan since childbirth.
I was going to ask that, especially because you're in Santa Rosa, where training camp is.
Where training camp? Well, when I was 6 or 7 years old, their training camp was in Santa Rosa at the El Rancho Tropicana.
There you go.
And I had a chance to see them as a kid, man. And I've just got, I don't know, something just drew me to that silver and black. And these professional athletes, these big monsters, and you see them on TV, but then when you see them in person, they were just so friendly. And it was just, I liked that whole thing. So that was one of the reasons. So I became a Raider fan. Like I said, it's in my DNA, and it ain't going to change. So it started in childhood.
There you go. Well, you and obviously, because I asked about it, so what you told me about what necessitated, man, I tell you, that's a hell of a good reason to leave, to come over to the dark side, the team that you love, the team that I've loved as a kid, even from Philly. So I got to ask, and boy, I missed a graphic. I missed an opportunity. What I would love to have had up here right now is a picture of the patriarch Al Davis. I have the shield up there, which is about as good as it can get as well, without the picture of Mr. Davis. Describe your first meeting with Mr. Davis, if you can remember that.
Yeah. My first meeting with him, let me back up. When I got traded to the Los Angeles Raiders, and I've told this story before, maybe that's okay, I'm going to tell it again because this is the way it went down. There during the off day, the season had started, obviously, halfway during the season, and I had to go get a physical. It was on a Tuesday. Nobody's in the complex. So I go down to Beverly Hills and get my physical done because that's where the team doctors were, LA, Beverly Hills. So I remember being in the doctor's office and the phone rang and it was Al, and Al wanted to speak to the doctor. And the doctor, he hung up the phone. I said, he told me it was Al. I said, "What did Al want?" He said, "You want to know how big your hands were?" I said, "How big my hands are?" Well, Al always liked people that had speed. He liked big people. He liked people with long arms and big hands. It was a crazy question to ask, but that was important to Al. That was the first thing. Now I leave that the doctor's office and I go back to the Raider complex in El Segundo, waiting for the shuttle bus to come pick me up. And I'm sitting there and I'm in the locker room all by myself. I'm looking around. There's nobody in there, man. I'm looking at all these gray lockers, silver lockers, and this and that, and all the names and the shoulder pads and the helmets and stuff. And I'm in there all alone. And I stand up, and I turn around, and I looked in my locker, I saw my name up there, and I saw that helmet up there, and I grabbed that helmet, and I put it on, and I turned around, and I sat down on that gray stool, and I said, thank you, Jesus. I finally made it. And the tears started to roll down my cheek, man. That right there was the beginning of, I knew I hadn't made it. I mean, here as a young kid, 6, 7 years old, watching the original Raiders in my city as a little kid in their training camp. And now, you know, I've had my dream come true as being a professional football player. And now I had a chance to go to my favorite team. So that right there. But Al was something. Al was on the practice school every Wednesday and Thursday. He had his patent leather shoes on. He had his outfit on. He was always standing on the sideline because I know now he was always coaching. The man was always coaching all the time, man. And he was, Al would, you know, I'd be running off the field into the locker room, and, you know, Al would remind me of certain things to be alert for in the upcoming game. And it shocked me because I'm like, wait a minute, it wasn't like that in Philly. But this man right here, he is, and what he was talking about, he was spot on. He knew exactly what he was talking about. So he would give you, you know, his advice on some things you need to watch out for or whatever it is, but he was always involved, man. Wednesday, Thursday, didn't see him on Friday, didn't see him on Saturday unless you were flying on that airplane. And, you know, and come game day, I'll never forget, man, every time you come out of that tunnel to start stretching, there he was. That's Al, right there. He's right there talking about just win, baby. Be right, Jerry. Be right. And I'm like, be right. He said, yeah, don't be wrong.
That's right.
Anyway, you know, it was just things like that, man. It just, he was there, and it was all about winning by Al. Al, it didn't matter to him what went down during the course of the week, unless you were making mistakes on a football field. But, you know, people make mistakes off the field too. He wasn't worried about that. He just was concerned about how you played for him, how hard you played on Sunday. He'd do anything for you. And I've had nothing but great experiences with Al.
What was your favorite? It's kind of hard to put it down to maybe one favorite, but some of your best memories as a Raider, your teammates, your good games.
I got you. I feel you, Captain Jack. I feel you, baby. I got you. You know something? When I look back on the Raiders, there were a lot of great things because I had a chance. First of all, I mean, I'm talking about people that I played with. You know, you have Mike Haynes, Hall of Fame. You have Lester Hayes, who should be and someday will be. Then there's Howie Long. There's Greg Townsend. There's Rod Martin. There's Mike Davis. Come on, man. Matt Millen. You know, Mike Davis. Those are guys that I played with. And as a Raider fan, oh my God, when I became a Raider and the first function I went to, there was a Raider event. I'm sitting there talking to John Madden. And here comes Jim Otto, and then Mr. Phil Villapiano. I mean, he's had so much personality. And I'm like, oh, my God. And then there's Art Shell, who I played against and who he coached me, too. Then I saw Jack Tatum, and then there was Willie Brown. Come on, you guys. Raider Nation. George Atkinson. And then there's Bo Jackson. And every time I saw Jim Plunkett, I told you what he said to me. And then, you know, then I have Coach Flores. I mean, there was just a lot of great ball players. You know, there's Bo, and then there's Lionel Washington. I had great teammates. And that's the one thing that I'll never forget because we're all still close to each other right now. But when I think about a game or so, you know, my first real impact that I felt in my heart was that story I told you about that day in the locker room. But as far as playing in a game, or being part of it, playing in the game was when Art Shell was my head coach because I played against Art in Super Bowl 15, and then he became my head coach. And I remember it was a Monday Night Football game against the New York Jets. And we won this football game. It might have been Art's first victory. I'm not
Well,
100% sure.
yeah,
But
actually, I remember because I was in the Philippines at the time. It was Art's first game. It was the Monday nighter against the Jets. Because
yep.
that's when he had him out. So yeah, I remember that game implicitly because again I was sitting at the enlisted club. Remember,
Okay.
it's on the other side of the world, so it was like went out for like breakfast or whatever, and we're watching the Monday night game. And by the way,
Uh-huh.
John Kingdon has something, and I will get to that. I did see it. I did see it, John. So yeah, you are correct about that. Finish the thought, Jerry, and then I got a question from John Kingdon.
Okay. Because that right there meant so much. I mean, here you have the second, actually, Pritchard, I believe it was the first black NFL player and black head coach, and Art was the first one to do it in decades. He became that,
Right, he was the first
the
modern era.
anyway,
Right, modern era.
right, modern era, yeah. And there's something about playing for a coach that has played the game. Not only did Art still play the game, he was one of the best to ever play it. He's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Art has always been a Raider, and he knew what we were about and what we needed to get done to get it, to get the job done. And that first victory, that Monday Night Football game, meant a lot to me. Let me back up, okay?
Okay.
Mike Shanahan, you got Coach Glory, so I love playing for it, and Mike Shanahan became my second coach. I remember Mike's first year, actually, and we were getting ready to play the Denver Broncos. We were headed back to Denver. Mike's first shot back against the Denver Broncos. And that whole week, preparing for the Denver Broncos, since Mike was, and Alex Gibbs, they knew about the offense. I mean, everything about John Elway, knew about the calls with the offensive line were doing. They were trying to give us tips all week long. If you hear this, be alert for this and alert for that. We go there. As a matter of fact, Tony Dorsett had wound up playing for the Denver Broncos at that time. He was no longer a Dallas Cowboy. He was playing the Denver Broncos.
Yep.
So we go up there, can't breathe, mile high. Might as well have been 10 miles high because you can't breathe. But anyway, it might have been on a Monday or Thursday night game, but it was a national televised game because it was a big to-do. Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator for John Elway for this and that. He's back as a Raider. Well, we get there, we start playing the game, and we were so concerned as players of all the different alerts that we had been told about or taught all week long, like some inside trader type of information. You're playing against them. And I think it was might have been 21-0 or 21 to something, 3 or 7 at halftime. We looked horrible. I'll never forget this. We walk into the locker room at halftime. All of a sudden, all the coaches had to leave. All the coaches are leaving the locker room. We're having a come to Jesus Raider meeting. Now, I remember Rod Martin was the captain, and Matt Miller also spoke too. But they were saying, you know what, you guys? Not only are we embarrassing ourselves, we are embarrassing anyone who's ever put on a Raider uniform. And we're embarrassing our family and our friends and our fans. He said, you know what? Forget about all that. I won't use the word, but forget about all that stuff that we've been heard, being alert, been taught. Listen to this check, that check. He said, you know what? Let's go out here and play Raider football. If we lose, let's do it playing Raider football. The hell with all this stuff that we've been preparing for all week. We went out there, we won the game. I think it might even went into overtime. I think it might have scored 3 more points. I think the score, I don't remember what the score was. All I know was it was a great comeback. And to see and to remember being in that locker room, come on. You kidding me? Think about everybody we are embarrassing who has ever worn this jersey. And think about the fans that are being embarrassed. It was really powerful for me. And that's something I'll never forget.
Well, and I tell you, if it was a Monday, and this was before the Raiders hit the skids, where they used to have the best Monday night record ever. I think that when I was talking with Ira Matthews, said with the Kings of Monday Night, and that was the truth. And then, when the Raiders hit those skids, it went away. Now, John did ask this, and he wanted me to ask you about Coach Sumner and Coach Dave Adolph.
Oh my God, two great. Charlie Summers, one of the greatest defensive coordinators of all time, and Dave Adolph was a hell of a defensive coordinator too. They were very, very, very smart and very, very, very alert. And the thing that Charlie Sumner and Dave too, but we're talking about Charlie right now, that Charlie Sumner was able to do, he was able to make adjustments, and that makes all the difference in the world. Something's not going right. Charlie would come over there, he'll just start drawing something. He might even use his hand to point out this or point out that, but he was always making adjustments that he needed to make, and he always put us in a position to win. And, if you're in a position to make a tackle, if you don't make the tackle, it's not his fault because he put you in the right place you need to be in. And Dave Adolph was another one. We've lost both of them, actually. They're both passed on, but I feel very fortunate to have both of them as my defensive coordinators.
Yeah, now the old story with Charlie Sumner and the putting in Jack Squirick, and I actually have spoken to Jack about that. I actually did not know was that it was an intern that told Charlie about the play with Joe Washington way back when the Raiders had played the Redskins the early part of the season during that Super Bowl year for Super Bowl 18. The intern went up to Charlie Sumner and said, "Hey, Coach, yada, 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 watch for the little flip pass to Joe Washington, just like they did in Washington, Joe Washington in Washington, apropos." Right. But the intern told Charlie Sumner, and Charlie Sumner asked, he said, "Are you sure?" And he goes, "Yeah," but he took it as straight up advice, and then Charlie pulls Millen, puts in Squirick, and I'm actually looking at the Sports Illustrated cover that Jack Squirick signed for me, which is framed up here in the room when you get here. And so again, Sumner was such a great coach that he would take the good advice of the people that knew.
I know, and it was funny about that. When I came to the Raiders, the guys were telling me, they said, "You know what? Jack Squire had one thing to do, one play, and it was before. It said during this time. I think it might have been before the half or something like that.
Yeah, it was right before the half. It was right before the half.
That was the tip off. You know what? It's interesting you said that because I remember playing in the LA Coliseum against the Denver Broncos, and I remember really well Charlie telling me, "Jared, you got to tell all of us." When they're coming out of their end zone, and if it's before a half, John's going to throw this pass right here. He said, "Jerry, all you got to do is just stay lower than you normally are, hide behind that offensive line, and just slide to your left. And when you see John throw it, cock his arm, get ready to jump, and you'll be able to pick off the pass and score." And that's exactly what happened. Exactly what happened. Now that I think about it, just before the half. So, Charlie, hey man, he knew what he was doing. He really did.
And John, thank you for clarifying that. I made a mistake, and I don't mind saying when I made a mistake. It wasn't an intern; it was John Otten. So
Otten.
Yeah, that was the gentleman that
videographer John Otten.
There you go. Yeah. So I had it mostly right, except I called him an intern. I knew what I wanted to say. Thanks, John Kingdon. Yeah. Again, hey,
you know what though?
that's why you guys are here, because when I don't say something right, you can say, "Jack, not quite," but you're going to get it. We're going to get it right.
Hey, Jack, check this out. There's one more thing to add about John Otten. John, him and his brother, but John, he was the one. He put all the tapes together. He was a videographer, however you say it. John put every single piece of tape together: game tapes, group tapes, linebackers, lead lines. He broke them all down. So he saw more film than anybody. And I can understand, I can see now how John Otten would say, "You know what, this is what I saw. This is what they do." So, yeah, teamwork.
That's right. Now, as a Raider, again, 7th season with the Raiders, and you've gone into, again, and you can say this, I want to give out your accolades. The 1987 Ed Block Courage Award winner for the as a Raider, 4-time All-Pro, 1-time Pro Bowl. You played total in your 13 seasons, 184 games. You started 147, compiled 12 interceptions and 15 fumble recoveries. So in your career, yeah, according to this, I got the stats. And I mean, we can look it up online, but hey, if it isn't, then let's give you more. So, I want to know the toughest players you played against during your career, and then we'll wrap up your career.
I tell you what, right now, that question gets asked to me, and some young people ask me that too, and some of them don't know the name, recognize the name when I tell them, but I know our listeners, and I know you will, when they ask me who's the toughest player I've ever played or ever had to tackle. Earl Campbell.
Oh, yeah.
Earl Campbell. Oh, my goodness. When I was playing for the Eagles, oh, man, and the first time I played against Earl, I'm playing inside linebacker, and I don't know what happened to our defensive line because they were all gone. It was like the parting of the sea. And there's 34 Earl and me. And as he was coming towards me and I was headed towards him, I said, do I need to make a business decision here? What am I going to do? I'm either going to go down real low or I'm just going to try to hit him up high and try to ride his back. So I decided to hit him up a little high. I rode his back. He went about 5 or 6, 7, maybe 9 yards. And my teammates came and tackled me on the bottom of the pile. And Earl looks up at me and he sees me because we were on some All-American trips and Bob Hope shows and, when he had Heisman, just all that stuff. We knew each other. He looked up at me and I said, "Skol, brother." He said, "Skol." I said, "Earl, Skol, brother." He did those Skol commercials.
Right.
Remember that?
Yeah.
And he looked up at me and he said, "I don't even like that stuff, man. Get off me." So Earl actually was probably, he was one of them. He really was. But see, hey, listen, I look at, I had to deal with Walter Payton, Roger Craig, played against Franco Harris, Thank God Bo Jackson and Marcus Allen were on the same team because those were two really great ball players too. Then I look at the tight ends I had to cover because, I like to run and I could run, and so I was a lot. That's why I don't have a bunch of quarterback sacks because I normally had to take the fastest cat either out of the backfield or whatever, which was fine with me. To me, it's a challenge. Okay, when I think about the tight ends I had to cover, Kellen Winslow.
Who wasn't a slouch, I'm sure.
No, Kellen, and then now my mind is kind of drifting off out of here a little bit. Ozzie Newsome.
There you go.
These are two Hall of Famers,
Right,
and then,
right.
I just think about all the quarterbacks. I mean, come on, man. They had Marino, played against Marino and Elway and Kelly and Warren Moon. And there's a lot of them guys that are in that Pro Football Hall of Fame. I played against Tony Dorsett. I feel very fortunate because the guys I played against, I had a chance to test my ability with the best that's ever played the game. And, I held my own. I thought I did a pretty good job. I did a good job. If I didn't, I would have been playing, I guess. But anyway, I don't know if you say that, but, I feel really grateful to have that opportunity because when you see that Hall of Fame induction, you look back there and I see, some of the older Dylan men. Wow, man, I played against him, and, we went to battle all the time. And so I know I had a chance to play against some of the best that ever played a game.
Well, I tell you, it's just the fact that, like I said, remarkable career. Fantastic again, 13 years there, and it's just obviously all those accolades. I'm trying to get the right graphic here. I don't know why it's not going on here. Oh boy. Well,
I wasn't bad. I did a pretty decent job when I look back on it.
Oh yeah. Well, I say you're doing your job. I'm trying to make the good flow here, and unfortunately, oh there it is. Okay, now I know why. Now I know why. I had not quite the right graphic up. So again, transition from the pros. Again, UCLA Athletic Hall of Fame. One of only 50 players to name to the All-Century Pac-12 team in 2015. And then, and I love this picture. I can't wait. I can't wait to show it. Let me get down here. No, it's awesome. Okay. The Bronco Nagurski Award winner, and that the one where you're on stage and it's just it's just a smile, and I cut it as long, I cut it as large as I could, so you see your picture in the back, and you can just see the total elation there, and that is a fantastic moment for you, at winning that award, the Bronco Nagurski Award, and and tell us a little bit about that night as well.
That night right there is I was the recipient of the 9th Bronco Nagurski Legends Award, because they didn't have that award when I was playing ball. And what they did started 9 years ago. They started giving out Legends Awards for guys that probably would have they would have won it back then. And I was Tom Cousineau won it the year before me. And Tom was at my table. He sat next. We were sitting together, and just, oh man, it was so much fun seeing him. And so anyway, it was a great honor to receive that award. But also, the other guys that were up there nominated, the 5 finalists. I mean, I'm so proud of these young guys. I mean, Chase Young, he wins the award, and he's the second guy chosen in the draft. And you got Simmons, and it was just really rewarding to meet these young dudes, to see where their heads were, and their heads were on the right place, And the other thing of it is, man, is that my daughters, Jackie and Jill, and my son-in-law Alex and Ellen, they were there because they'd never been in a situation where I had received such a prestigious award before, and my grown daughters and stuff. So it meant a lot to me to be there. And just to be part of that whole Bronco Nagurski, that those people do an outstanding job in Charlotte, North Carolina. They're a touchdown club to have there. So it meant a lot to me because like this. Think about this for a minute. I mean, I haven't put on a football uniform since 1991. Now, college football, I hadn't put that thing on. I put on a college football uniform since, I graduated. 78 was the last time I put it on, okay? And from 78 to 2019, this award was last year, that's a lot of years in between. And it felt really, really, really good to know that people still recognize something that you've done so many decades ago. It made me feel really good. So I'm very proud to receive that award, and it means a lot to me. And I tell you one thing, that is the heaviest trophy I've ever had in my whole life. That's the heaviest thing. Matter of fact, I might even put it on a scale and see how many pounds it is, and take a picture and send it to you, Captain Jack.
All right. Well, I got the second picture up from that award ceremony, and I love that purple suit, by the way, or the purple, the purple underneath. To my favorite colors, obviously, are silver and black, but in close contention is purple. I do. I love purple.
Okay. I'm glad. You know what? So do I. Let me tell you about the purple. My mother, unfortunately, in 2006, she got killed. Well, she died from a car accident.
Oh, very sorry to hear that.
And her favorite color is purple. And since she couldn't be there with me side by side, I said, I'm bringing my mom with me. That's why the purple is there. And anytime I get a chance to do something, I'm bringing her with me because she's been such a big influence in my life. And, I know that the person I am today, the human being I am today, is because of the things that my mom taught me and showed me. So I will always represent my mom. Purple.
Well, I didn't know, and I'm actually glad I prodded that. But no, that's wonderful. Things that you remember, like when we just had the Mother's Day a show a little while ago. I was talking about the fact that I wouldn't be as big of a sports fan as I am. And my mom passed last July, so this was the first Mother's Day that I had without my mom. But I wouldn't be, the rabid and obviously being started out as a Phillies guy, right down the street. Because it was. I think it is Broadway and Primrose, and on right down from the street, right around the corner, is Passyunk, and I was right around the corner, right in Navy Housing around in Passyunk, and I wouldn't be the fan that I am living in Veterans Stadium as a kid, watching Larry Boa and Mike Schmidt and all of those, because of my mom, and then obviously the Phillies takeover brought me into football, and then watching, and people ask me, well, you're from Philly, how the hell did you become a Raiders fan? I said, well, because I went to school with George Blanda's nephew, and watching the Raider games. Like I say, you were out there in Santa Rosa watching them. I was watching them on TV with Kurt Gowdy for the NBC every week, man. NBC 4:00 game. It was the Raiders on, because that was the draw. So watching the Silver Black, watching the Shield, So again, your mom had that influence on you, and so blessings and kind thoughts your way on your mom, and I love that story, and we're going to transition here as well. I love that smile, and like I said, always look at this, the picture. If you can't see it, folks, Jerry is always has a smile. The picture I have up here right now is your College Hall of Fame picture with the 150. And after all that you did, as being named number 89 of the top 100 all-time college football players in 150 years, that's again a accolade, well deserved. And I knew you were awesome. I did. I knew you were awesome, but I didn't know all of this. So getting your bio, I was like, man, that is freaking awesome. And that is.
Hey, Captain Jack, not bad for a wide receiver, huh?
That exactly. Not bad for a wideout. That wasn't good enough for John McKay.
Okay, there you go, man.
So you get all of these accolades again. The College Hall of Fame there. And then the next one here, which I'm very happy to show, is that you've been very involved since your career. And I know this, obviously, from the couple different times that I've been out in Oakland to see the games. And I have a picture of you up there. I'm not sure if you sent me this one or if I grabbed it from, I think I grabbed this one from Google. It's a picture of you for the alumni weekend out in front of the Raider Hawaiian Airlines thing. I like that picture. And again, so you're very, very active, with the Raiders ever since your career. And so what do you do other than being a very supportive alumni? We were talking about a certain young lady by the name of Jackie, and I wish I would have had time to throw her picture up there, but I wanted to get everything done. But I know you're a father to a collegiate athlete herself. Your daughter Jackie. Go ahead and talk a little bit about your family.
Well, Jacqueline, like I said, she was named after my brother Jackie. He was named after Jackie Robinson, the baseball player. But Jackie was matter of fact, she just got inducted into with the high school in Merced, Golden Valley High School, and they have a Hall of Fame over there. She got inducted, as a matter of fact, a couple months ago. I'm proud of her. I'm proud of both. I have two daughters, Jacqueline and Jill. Jack and Jill. Yeah, there you go. So, Jackie, she went on a Florida Gator, and I'm very proud of her and the things that she's done, that she's accomplished. Just a great person too, man. She's a sweetheart. She really is. She reminds me a lot of myself. And not that I'm patting myself on the back, but she's got a good, kind heart. And so I'm a Gator dad, and my other daughter Jill, and her and her husband Jordan were David. They met in college. They met at the University of Miami, and I know you know about that when the U plays the Florida Gators, there's a lot of animosity toward each other. So you can imagine my two daughters when the two football teams or whoever they're playing against. It's pretty interesting. So I'm a Gator dad and I'm a U dad too.
Gotcha. Now, actually, they hadn't played each other for years until they finally played last year, and Florida won. I don't want to say convincingly because Miami did everything in their power to give that game away with all of the sacks that the Gators got, and so yeah, it was a very, very heated is the best way to say it. Always is a heated contest between.
Well, like you said, they hadn't played in years, but look what happened. But that's the way it is. But my Jill, the one is her and Jordan. They're when anytime Miami's playing, if they playing with basketball or because it didn't matter. Anytime those two had a chance, those two schools played against each other, or they got different ball players now in the pros. So you pull for your alumni people. So it's pretty interesting when these two go at it when these two teams are playing somebody. But just with the Raiders here, the whole thing with the Raiders, I enjoy it. I enjoy being around people, and I really like kids because I look at kids, these young kids, man, especially a young baby or a 4 or 5 year old. They don't see color. They don't see anything negative in somebody. They have not gotten old enough to have, as far as I'm concerned, taught to them. Because, hey man, certain things have to be taught, and some things, you're taught and you learn. And these young kids, they don't know it. They're so innocent, is what I'm trying to say. And anytime I get an opportunity to do things for kids, I'm in for it, okay? And the deal with the Raiders, the alumni, we got a big alumni and a strong one and a good one. During game time, we get to go around and thank the people, in the suites or wherever they may be, for supporting our teams and for being diehard Raider fans. I mean, we enjoy going around shaking people's hands and taking pictures and just thanking them because they've been, those fans, as you know, you've been, 50 years? How many years? 30, 40 years?
Close to 50. Close to 50.
Okay, let's just say 50. Okay, you've seen the good, you've seen the bad, you've seen the ugly. If you're 25 years old right now, or 30 years old, excuse me, you don't know what the greatness of the Raiders is all about. You've been taught it. Your family has taught you that because they've been through some real hard times. So we enjoy going around and just thanking people for doing that. And speaking of Raiders, Raider alumni and Raiders, period, Las Vegas Raiders, the Raiders have done so many things for the cities that they've been in. I'm going to say it like that. I know what they've done in Oakland for the community because I've been involved in a lot of appearances. They did in LA. And since 2017, since they announced that they were going to be going to Las Vegas, they put the groundwork in the foundation because wherever we are, we as Raiders, we're all part of this. We're all in this together. So they bring the community in, and people get a chance to see, what it's like to be part of this team here, this organization. Get to meet some of the legendary ball players. And then you get to meet some of the new ball players. But the Raiders are always doing something to benefit somebody else, and that's why I enjoy. I used to live in Las Vegas. I think I spent more time in Las Vegas, actually, since the Raiders made that announcement, because there's so many different functions going on in Las Vegas that our alumni, which I'm part of, we go do. So they're doing a lot of great things, and there's a lot of great things to come. And you know what I'm really, really happy for about Las Vegas is that not only do they get an NFL team, they get a team with over 60 years of history. There's a lot of history with the Raiders. And you know what? That's why I suggest people to go out and get that behind the Raiders Shield, because there's a lot in there that people can learn. So I love being around people, especially little young ones, man, because they're looking at you. They don't know who you are, but they don't care. You're just, if you smile at them, they'll smile back, And that's what it's about. I'd rather be happy.
And it gives me a chance to actually show John's book again, Behind the Raider Shield, if you have not gotten your copy. And no, we are not paid by John Kingdon. to tell you about this book. We tell you about this book because as fans and historians of the Raiders, Jerry as a player, me as a lifelong fan, there's nothing better than reading really fantastic stories about the Raiders. Again, make sure Behind the Raiders Shield, Al Davis on the top, John Kingdon as your one of your authors, Bruce Kebrick being the other one. I got to get the other. So I got 2 copies of this. This is one that John signed. I got to get Bruce to sign the other one, so I'll have a matching set. And I tell you, with the one thing that I needed to say, I would be remiss, and I did have a showed the Allegiant Stadium in its splendor, and that's what we're looking at right now. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you 2 things. And we'll get to Rod Martin in a second, but what do you feel? I mean, because everybody is poo-pooing the Raiders going out to Vegas. They're picking them. They're picking them to be again a record of 5-11, which is obviously worse than what they were. They were 7-9 last year. Technically, I say that technically because they were really 9-7. The NFL blew 2 calls that would have made them 9-7. I'll give it the fact that we got an easier schedule. We ended up getting Henry Ruggs in the first round because of the higher draft pick and taking them away from a lot of people. So it worked out in our favor. We know we were 9-7. The NFL has us down for 7-9. Jerry, what are your recollections, or what, not per se predictions, but what working with the team in this environment, your best for the folks that are out there, from somebody that really wants to know how are we going to do this year?
It starts off like this: 5-11. We love it. They don't understand. Those people that are talking about the Raiders being 5-11. You are helping the Raiders more than you'll ever know, because it's always been us against everybody else. John Gruden and Mike Mayock, they have a plan, and they're working their plan, man. It is the way, and it's going to be very, very, very successful. We really don't care what people think we're going to do before the season starts. None of that matters. None of that counts. And anybody betting on the Raiders just being 5-11, go ahead and make that bet. Make that bet. Call me. I want some of that too. I'm gonna take your money because I tell you right now, one of the greatest motivators of all time is that when people are doubting you and people don't give you a chance. And I'm gonna say this: when John Gruden came back to the Raiders, and he had a fan appreciation thing at Ricky's in Oakland.
I would have been there if I was on that coast. You know I would have been.
I know. And I'm going to tell you right now, when John came in and Raider alumni, we were inside, he's going to talk to us, meet us all over again, talk to us before he went out to the fans. When John got through talking to us, he made me feel like I still had a chance to go out there and play. I'm in my 60s. So I'm telling you, if the ball players buy into what he's saying and what he is teaching, which I know they are, look out, everybody. I'm telling you, say what you want to say. We don't care what you say. First of all, people need to understand, we really don't care what you're saying, because we know inside we have a point to prove, and we're going to make our point, we're going to prove our point. That's the attitude that we have. It's all about the attitude. You got a winner's attitude, you're gonna think like one. If you got a loser's attitude, you're gonna be one of them too, a loser. So there's a positive attitude, there's a new change, there's a beautiful city, beautiful stadium. The excitement there has been building up there since 2017. And I was there 2 days after the Super Bowl with Reggie Kinlaw, the lawman. And we were doing a Raider appearance for with United Way at a elementary school or junior high school. It was called the Character Playbook. And those young kids were fired up, and the older people were fired up. Everywhere we went that day, from that school to the hotel or wherever, at a stoplight, People are screaming and yelling. They're fired up. They're glad that the Raiders are there. And I need to say this too. If you're a ball player out there and you're not happy where you're going to be, where you're at right now, and I tell you what, if you want to get away, Vegas is the place to be, man. That's a brand new stadium, a brand new state-of-the-art stadium, and a brand new state-of-the-art training facility. Oh, my goodness. Plus, the state tax there. You don't have to worry about it. But anyway, but you're coming to an organization that is really about winning. They really are, man. And Mike Mayock and Coach Gruden, they've had a plan in place, and they're executing their plan. Now, understand, you can't make everybody happy. This doesn't happen in life. It doesn't work that way. But you know what? I'm all in on them. I'm all in with them. I'm with them, man. And, that's not just because I'm a Raider fan and I play for the Raiders. It's because the way that John Gruden made us as a Raider alumni, remember the Hard Knock show? I mean, oh, my God, that wasn't an act. That's really John Gruden. That's the way that man is. He's very passionate about it. He's got a great memory. And he wants these young guys to understand what the history of the Raiders are about. That's why he enjoys, and Mark enjoys, having a Raider alumni around there, because we're part of that history. One day they will be too, but we're there. And it's important that these guys understand what it means to sit down on your gray stool in an empty locker room with nothing but Raider gear everywhere and Raider names all over the place. You want to know what it feels like to put on that helmet and have a spiritual moment where you talk to Jesus and say, "Thank you, Jesus. I finally made it."
Well, I tell you, with the comments like that, and like I said, I had Ken Thompson on the other day, and I got to find a way to send you guys some money so you can throw some bets on for me. If my boy Don Webb or Logan Moore. By the way, Logan's going to see you. He's going to bring you some of his. He's got 2 of your cards. He says they only gave you 14 fumble recoveries. So again, that's what Flair says, and Flair's out of 50.
Let me tell you something. You know what? It could be Flair. It could be Top. Whatever they're saying, I don't even remember anyway.
Right. and you know what? And they have been wrong before. There's actually the conspiracy where they had was it Don Mattingly's birthday in the wrong year. So baseball cards are not always right, but it doesn't matter.
I have to tell you this. There's some cards that came out when I was with the Philadelphia Eagles. There's an All-Pro card,
which was shown. I showed that card in your presentation.
And then there's a couple other cards. But when the card came, one of those cards came out, when the first card came out, I'm in Chile, Philly. I love being there. So I'm there, and I get a phone call from my mom. And I said, "Hey, Mom, how you doing?" She said something. Then I said, "Mom, what's the matter?" Because you can tell when something's wrong if your mom's mad or something's not right.
Right,
I said, "Mom, what's wrong?" She said, "I can't believe it." I said, "Believe what?" She said, "Someone gave me a card of yours with your face on it. And she said, it says here that you said you were born in San Francisco." I said, "Mom, I never said I was born in San Francisco." I said, "Mom, I never said I was born in San Francisco." I said, "Mom, they made a mistake." She said, "No, they couldn't have made a mistake. It's a card." I said, "Mom, they made a mistake." She was mad about the card. And the next thing she said to me, she said, "And look at your hair. Comb your hair." I said, "Mom." I said, "Mom, I just took my helmet off. I'm not out there with an afro pick, you know what I'm saying, in a mirror, taking my helmet off." But anyway, yeah, I'll never get down the card. It says San Francisco. I said, "Mom, make them changes." I said, Mom, I can't make them do anything that they really don't want to do." So there's a card out there, probably a couple of them that are out there with me being born in San Francisco. Y'all, I was born in San Rafael, California.
There you go. And you got it from the source. Yeah. You got it from the source. And again, I'm gonna fade out to again. I love this last picture, the one that was recently on Facebook with you with the jersey that you show, memorabilia pictures of you both as an Eagle and as a Raider. And again, Jerry, because I'm from Philly, and obviously me being a Raider, that's why when I first met you, I think I told you this, is that you were a very special person to me because I knew you from both. I mean, a kid right out of Philly. Now, I wasn't in Philly when you were there, but I mean, I would at least follow the Eagles because, they were the Philly team that I didn't really follow. But obviously as a Raider, but, having you there, and I remembered you playing for UCLA, and and this is a good transition as well. The final transition for the night, other than I'm going to ask, by the way, if you want to know about a great person that Jerry is, and currently the vice president and the board of directors for a nonprofit called Shoes for Kids, and tell us a little bit about that.
I tell you what, it is. I like kids, and I'm drawn to the kids. And I was at a fundraiser for Shoes for Kids, and I was watching this presentation, a video presentation, and they showed a picture of this young kid, man. He had like electrical tape or masking tape around his shoes to keep his shoes together. And I saw that kid, and I saw me. I said, I remember what it was like growing up not having new shoes. If you got a pair of shoes, you had to wear it all year long. Oh, by the way, if you played basketball, you were playing basketball in those tennis shoes too. Okay? And I saw this kid, and immediately it touched my heart, and I was introduced to the founder of the foundation, Mariah Volk, and I just got involved in it. And we, our goal is we're trying to provide a new pair of shoes, athletic shoes, to every kid that we come across. And it brings me a great deal of joy to see the happiness, giving a gift to a kid that's not expecting it in the first place, but they get it and how much they appreciate it, because I looked at that kid, I said, there goes me. So that's really good, and it's close to my heart. And Shoes for Kids is very important. And I also do a podcast.
I was going to get there. But go ahead.
I know. I'm just rolling. Before I forget. I know you wouldn't forget. But talking about, it's called People Doing Good. And what we do, we highlight people. We start off in our community here out in Sonoma County, but we as you go on the internet, Zoom and Squadcast, all this other different stuff, we're being able to get a lot of different people. And we just want to bring to people, started about a year ago with Mariah Volk, who started the founder of Shoes for Kids. So we're co-hosts on this show, and our stories, it's not our stories, the stories we bring to our listeners are people and organizations that are doing good things in their communities. And we've had Ronnie Lott on there a couple of times. We had Guy Fieri on there a few times. Some places that serve meals, animal rescue, and family justice, where places where people are being abused and this and that, they can go to and actually get help. That's what we do. We try to, not what we try to do, is what we do. We bring people that are doing good in their community. So if you're a podcaster, just, hey, go to your podcast and go, People Doing Good, and you're going to hear some real fascinating stories.
Well, again, folks, if you want to get that great entertainment, again, it's People Doing Good, Jerry. I want to make sure that the word gets out.
That's it.
People Doing Good.
That's it.
Okay.
Yes, that's the podcast. People Doing Good and Shoes for Kids.
There you go.
And can I tell you a story since we're on the
Sure.
You got to go anywhere?
No, I'm here. I'm here. I want to make sure you got something to drink, because you've been carrying this show.
I got some 7-Up over here, man.
Okay.
I asked before we came on, I had 2 nice slices of it was chicken, bacon, and artichoke pizza. Oh my God, it was so delicious. Anyway, now I got some 7-Up over here. So, Shoes for Kids. Let me tell you about Shoes for Kids, man.
Please.
The other day, I'm having some work done on my house, and I needed some lumber. Okay, and I just happened to find out that this one particular lumber place was owned by, I went to Cardinal Newman High School, and it's a Cardinal Newman alum. So I called him and said, we can work out this and work that. Oh, Jerry, I'll take care of this and that. We're talking on the phone. He says, as a matter of fact, he said, I was thinking about you about a month ago. I said, really? What about? He said, I know you're involved with some kids and you do some shoes for something for kids. I said, oh yeah, Shoes for Kids. He said, Well, I tell you what, we always set aside money for organizations and foundations. He said, we want to give you guys some money. And this was like 3 days ago. And he got a hold of Mariah, who is the final founder of Shoes for Kids. And understand this, right now, during this time where we can't go anywhere during this, pandemic, is the biggest fundraisers that we have for Shoes for Kids, and we couldn't have it, okay? And he didn't know that, but by him donating $5,000 to the Shoes for Kids, man, it took the place of that big fundraiser, man. So now we'll be able to buy more pairs of shoes for kids that are getting ready to start school. You know what I mean? Because these kids right now, they've been locked up at home on computers or whatever it may be. They're looking forward to going to school, and they haven't been out to go shopping. So, Mead Clark is the name of the lumber company, the name of the company, and it felt so good that Randy Destrell from Mead Clark here in Santa Rosa, California, was able to donate that to us. And there's a lot of charities and a lot of people that are suffering right now. And there's a lot of charities that are actually falling by the wayside. And I will say this, he saved Shoes for Kids. So if you want to check out Shoes for Kids, that's Shoes, the number 4, and it's KIDZ. You can go on there, you can donate. If you ain't got, I'll tell you what, you can donate money, or you can just, if you know somebody, I tell you what, y'all that'll listen, if you know somebody's got a shoe contract somewhere, an athlete or a school or something like that just might want to just donate some new shoes that they get from wherever, or Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, whatever it may be, just remember this, whatever you donate is going to put a smile on the young kid's face. And you know what? It doesn't get any better than that.
No, and again, that is Shoes, the number 4, Kids, KIDZ, not S. So Shoes for Kids, and that's a great nonprofit that Jerry is working with. Jerry, I tell you, I gotta ask, because we've kept it this long, and I apologize for keeping you so long. You got it.
I had my pizza already. I told you.
Okay, you got to tell the folks about you and Rod Martin, and the little rivalry kind of thing that you got. UCLA USC, and you told me the story, and I wanted to make sure that you told everybody as well.
Well, by now everybody knows about how I feel about SC. And Rod probably feels the same way. I know he does about UCLA, the way I feel about USC. All that love going back and forth. But anyway, Rod Martin, first of all, the 3 interceptions, in Super Bowl, and he beat our team and this and that. And anyway, make a long story short, for years now, a couple of decades, at least almost 2 decades, whatever it is, a long time. Every time that UCLA would play USC, and if USC won, the first phone call that I always would get was from Rod Martin. I'd pick up the phone and I'd hear that damn USC fight song every single time.
Is that the da 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 da?
You about to make me you about to make me lose my chicken bacon artichoke here.
I'm sorry. I will say this, okay? I love the band, okay? Because the band is awesome, and I said this as well. Anybody that can have Fleetwood Mac play with them for the Tusk album, and the band is awesome, and that song, it's kind of like Boomer Sooner and da 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 da. You got the songs in your head. And they can't get, and Rod, sorry, not Rod, Jerry, I'm very sorry to say I don't recall what the UCLA fight, the song that you would hear. I don't recall that, and I apologize for that.
Oh, that's okay, but it don't even matter. The song that I know I can't stand is that SD fight. You know what? I'm about 300 miles away from Southern California. You know what? when Rod, when he called and he do that, he's laughing, having fun. I said, you know what? I want to either get on a plane or get in the car and head over to USC's campus and find Tommy Trojan and paint him UCLA colors. Anyway, that's okay. But you know what though? It's a strong, powerful fight song. It's something me and Rod talk about and we laugh about. I mean, as a matter of fact, back in the day, when I was with the LA Raiders, me and Rod, we used to have this bet where for a few years we had this going on. Whichever team won, the other guy would have to hand wash the other person's car.
Uh-huh.
So, so this goes way back, and it's all in fun, or he might now, Rod might send me a finger with the, those Trojans, those two fingers up in the air. I guess it stands for victory. I said, you're missing a finger though, man. You need 3 fingers.
Uh-huh.
And you can figure, anyway, so it's all fun. It really is. But, when Rob would call and, after that fight song, I'm like, okay, cool. Anyway, it's all good.
I tell you. And actually, Logan Moore, who's going to come find you for you autographing those cards, he has it. Well, it's shoes for kids, but make sure there's a Z at the end of that there, yeah. Logan, because he has it shoes for KID. It's Z. Okay, and yeah, add it up, and he's going to add it to his Raider group, so he's going to look for you as well. Again, Logan's there in Vegas. Don Webb's in Vegas. Actually, Don showed me a picture he took with you and Jay Schrader, and I saw who you were, and I was looking at Jay, and I'm like, God, he looks familiar. But I couldn't. I knew the face, but I couldn't place who it was. And it was so strange looking at Jay Schrader without all those golden locks. It threw me. It did throw me.
It threw a few people. Yes. Well, we're all going through a few changes, but that is Jay.
Yeah.
That's Jay. And I tell you what, man, I am really. You're talking about Las Vegas. I'm excited. I'm excited. It's there. Ain't nothing happening. It ain't gonna change. They're gonna be there, and it's a new lease on life. It's a new place, And honestly, my heart goes out to fans of Oakland, But you know what? This was something that Mark Davis did not want to leave Oakland. I'm gonna leave it. That's what it is. Come on, man. That's where it all started. But let me say this about Allegiant Stadium, and I am so happy and that when I look at that stadium, I think about how Al Davis would feel.
Oh yeah,
about that stadium, and I'm so happy for Mark because it's there. It is there. That flame, that torch is there, and Al loved Las Vegas because that's where he went to spend his birthday. Al Davis. Here's another Al Davis story.
Okay.
He told me one time, he said, you know what, Jerry, I'm sorry, I'm about to talk like Al Trent. He said, everybody celebrates my birthday. Everybody has a ball. They celebrate my birthday. That's it.
Yeah, July 4th. Yeah,
he told me that. That's one of the first things he told me when I met him. I'm like, okay.
You got to know that.
That's his spot, man. And I'm happy for the Davis family, man, because they finally have their own place.
Right.
Oh my goodness, it's just so difficult when you don't have what you want. Like I said earlier, the attraction to free agents or people that want to be, they're either going to be traded. There's a great attraction. Now they have a new facility. We've never played in a new facility. I never played in our own stadium. I was in the LA Coliseum.
Right.
Okay. And those people that play in Oakland, they're sharing it with the baseball team. They have their own. And it's been a long time coming. And I tell you what, it's gonna be a big hit, man.
Well, I definitely can't wait to get out there. And yeah, everybody who knows anything or at least about the great Al Davis, is that July 4th is his birthday. The other fact on this is that George Steinbrenner's birthday was also July 4th. So you had two patriarchs of those franchises both had birthdays.
They loved each other. They loved, and you know what? Like you said, hey man, the Raiders were the winningest sports franchise for a long. Remember that? For
a long time.
They dominated Monday Night Football.
That's right.
And
That's right.
You know, so George, you know, the Yankees and the Raiders. I mean, you know what? It's the same thing. One was swinging a bat, and the other one was just playing football. I'll leave it at that.
Well, I tell you, Jerry, I love you, and I mean that. I can't wait to see you again. I'll make sure that first off, anytime that you're out my neck of the woods, please come by, and just because I got you and I will share a pizza or we'll share a nice steak dinner. I'll make it because again, just the fact that I've been trying to do this for a while, and I'm glad that it came to fruition, and I really appreciate you spending 2.5 hours with us, and that means a lot. That means a lot to me.
Well, Captain Jack, thank you very much, man. And like you said, we've been working on this for a while, and I'm glad we had the opportunity. And like I said, when I come to Florida, when I come to visit my daughter and my grandbabies in Florida, we will definitely come by and hang out with you, man. It's been a real pleasure, and you know what? Thank you for having me on your show.
Well, it's been my pleasure here, and having said that, I'm cutting to my outro right now, which is actually my way of saying that this has been this is the end of our broadcast. Music by called Raider Fight by Bludgeonator. You'll get a kick out of this. This was an old CD that I found in my box of stuff, and it's by one of the longtime Raider heavy metal bands, kick-ass tune. So I gave him due. But again, if you stayed with us, thank you for everybody that joined us. Make sure that you share this up. Make sure that you share this up to everybody, because this was a hell of an interview. I mean, definitely my longest, and I enjoyed every single second of it. Every single second of it. And again, my brother, Jerry Robinson, I thank you again, sir, and I again cannot wait to see you again. And as long as I'm living and breathing, man, when I know you're around somewhere and I'm going out there where you are, I'll give you a call. We'll definitely have some adult beverages or whatnot.
All right, Captain. Hey, thank you, and God bless you, and be safe.
All right. Again, thanks again, folks. Jerry, stay on the line. I'm gonna end this in a little bit. Again, thank you for joining me. This has been the Black Shield and Galleon Wheel webcast with Jerry Robinson. Join us this Sunday, and I know Jerry might be there if he's not doing anything else. We have the Violator on, and we'll have a good time with the Violator, and then depending upon how long Wayne wants to talk, then we'll have our regular call-in show after that. But again, thank you for joining me here, and join us here on this program and this channel for lots of great interviews. Thanks again, everybody, and we'll see you later. Don't go yet, Jerry, but I'm going to stop this video for everybody else. Thanks again, folks. Bye-bye.